All right, what up, guys? The boys are back in town. We got our usual Monday podcast. Oh, Twitch is saying this title is invalid. Fuck Twitch. We don't give a shit about them anyway. But
Hey,
we're
Alex,
here
I
on
can't see
YouTube.
you.
Yeah, fuck them.
Alex,
We're
we can't
here
see
on
you, Alex.
YouTube. We're here on what?
We hear you.
We
but
can't see you, Alex.
Oh,
No
fuck
video.
my life. All right, hang on a second. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I can see
You know what?
myself.
This is quality.
Dude, I don't understand. No matter how much money I throw at my tech issues, they just seem to. Okay,
That's what I'm worried about.
like
Yeah, hey,
you,
bro, you're sounding great. That's the important part, right?
you can't see me at all.
No,
No.
you
Nah,
got
just
your
black them.
You look like you're supporting the BLM movement right now.
Still can't see me.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, there we
you
go.
go.
Yeah.
All right, fuck my life, dude. Dude, these fucking tech issues are the bane of my existence. Like people are always like, "Oh, Alex, stop being so cheap. Buy this, buy that." All right, I spent thousands of dollars on this fucking shit, and no matter what I fucking do, no matter how many fucking Indians I hire, no matter how many fucking even white people I hire, shit just for some reason just always malfunctions on me. But hopefully this setup will work. If not, then I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But anyway, so we got a Monday night value panel, and we got a new guest joining us, Mr. Home Math. He's been on my channel before, but let's give him a chance to give an intro. He's a popular content creator. He's been blowing up recently. But yeah, go ahead, Ho. Just say a few words about yourself.
Well, haven't been blowing up that recently. It blew up a little bit more than a year ago. If anybody doesn't know me, I got popular overnight for complaining about women on TikTok. And then I moved to YouTube and got popular for complaining about women on YouTube. And I do consciousness stuff. I talk about the dating market, and I teach very unwise youngsters, mostly Gen Z, how attraction works and how to tell where you are in the attraction hierarchy and other such things. And I also use the Ken Wilber AQAL consciousness levels to explain to people how to deal with people at different levels of development. I'm very, very smart and rich and popular and attractive, and I'm killing it. And I'm here to hang out with my friends tonight and talk about stuff.
What inspired
Well,
you to
the beginning of the intro was very modest, and then it became quickly not so modest at the very end.
Well, it's only true, only what's true.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you became popular because I think you have a unique style of presenting information. I think that's why you kind of blew up on YouTube. I've watched some of your content. You definitely don't complain. I think you just you do descriptions, and then do you even really often get prescriptions, or is it all just descriptions?
I'm getting into prescriptions lately. Like the last few videos I made are sort of getting into not just here's what's going on, but if you don't want to keep having this problem, here's what you have to do. And a lot of the solutions I'm giving are like, they're kind of for a world that doesn't so much exist anymore, but I'm telling people if they want to build that world again, what they have to do.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So
yeah,
it is
idealistic solutions, right?
Yeah, it's prescriptive for a removed, future.
Okay,
Not
that's
so
where you
much
and I
immediate.
differ. I give very dogmatic, pragmatic prescriptions that people say, "Well, you're creating a shittier world." Well, that's the world we live in.
Is the world we're in? It's practical.
Yeah. Where should we start, guys? So there's we got Austen, who's not here, but he has a debate with Wheat Waffles on my channel on Wednesday, so that should be interesting.
Wheat Waffles is back.
Yeah, he never really he left for like 3 months and he came back. And he came back a lot worse. He came back like much cringier and much more annoying.
What's the point? If only looks matter, why did Wheat Waffles come back? I don't understand. What was the point of coming back? You know what I'm saying?
I'll
like if you're that big of a nihilist, why would you even have a YouTube channel? Am I wrong? I'm just wondering if there's no hope. What is the point of your YouTube channel?
Well, he would say that there is hope if you're a Chad. And then if you're an average guy, you can do some like looks maxing surgeries and maybe make a lot of money and get a gold digger. But if you're like below average, well looking, yeah, there's no hope. Like just
actually, I think I need to be the one debating him, to be fair.
I can make that happen. Well, he actually I did ask him about you, and his exact words were, "Michael is so loud and obnoxious. I would never talk to him."
Of course,
sounds like a lovely guy.
It's not that Michael's loud and obnoxious. It's that Michael has clients that are 5'5" and Indian who date hot women, and he can't explain it. That's actually what the answer is that he doesn't understand mate choice copying in humans or evolutionary psychology. And then so when science is based or is faced with him, he's probably been asked this question several times. He has no answer for it. So his answer is, I would never debate that guy. He's obnoxious.
Well, he does have an answer for it. The answer is that it's all fake, that you're making all of it up. None of it exists. None of it's real. These are not real people. These are all paid actors. That would be his
please.
answer.
I will pay money. Please let me do a debate with him. Please. Good God.
I would be happy to make it happen if I can. I'll ask him again after the Austen debate.
It sounds fun. Black pillars are correct according to their own parameters, but they do a really bad job of explaining what their own parameters are. Like they don't want to accept that there are things you can do to negate not being attractive. They're just saying you're never going to be attractive.
I don't even think that black pillars are generally correct about anything. Like if their only argument is that looks play a role, then sure, but that's not that was never up for debate. But their whole thing is looks are the only thing that matters, or looks are like 80-90%, which is false. That is not the case. That what's it called? That all the girls are just gonna, like, if you're Chad, you just have life on easy mode. Well, that would negate all the good-looking clients I've had who were struggling.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Like borderline.
The rich clients that are struggling. Yeah. The famous clients who are struggling. Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. And good-looking guys who are struggling. Guys who are much better looking than me, who are like, dude, I haven't had sex in a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about this. I'm curious what Home Math thinks about this. It's when you overcompensate. So, for instance, like Shaquille O'Neal stands near the basket because he's 7'1", but like Allen Iverson is away from the basket because he's 6 feet tall. Like some guys only get good at one thing because, like, if you're super good looking, you might not take risks when you go up and talk to women. So you might not have developed the charisma and on those other attributes. And so now, as you get older, you might have difficulty when you're not in your core competency.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good looking you are. If you give a girl the ick with demonstration of incompetence, it's gonna wreck it. Attraction is built from so many things balanced all at once. If you're attractive, you'll start out with the halo effect. Girls will see you and they'll like what they see and they'll assume that you're good at stuff. If you prove them wrong, you can wreck it. Yeah. And so if you spend your life not getting good at the important stuff, then you're blowing it.
I have a question for Home Math real quick. Oh, sorry, Michael. Did you want to go?
No, go ahead.
Cool. I had a question for you, man. What motivated you, or what inspired you to kind of get into the stuff that you do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I really got to put up like a origin story on my YouTube because I was going in a whole different direction before COVID. COVID ruined my life, burned everything to the ground. I had nothing left. And I was just complaining on TikTok. I just made a bitter video about, there was a girl who said, men with no hose, where are you? And I used this chart, like a really crappy version of this chart, to explain to her where the men with no hose were. They're down here, not getting a response from you on Bumble. And it got 4 million hits. So I was like, I'll just make a career out of that. And I did.
No, that's interesting. COVID was actually like the best time for me. That's when my business blew up the most. That's when everyone was looking into online dating. I don't know if PWF would be where it is now. I mean, I like to think the answer is yes, but if I'm being realistic, I don't know. Like COVID, like before COVID, I had like 10,000 subs. Like it was, I had a hardcore group of fans, but like COVID gave me that like much more mainstream. That's when my videos started going viral because everyone was like trying to find out. But yeah, obviously COVID lockdowns were horrible overall.
Yeah. Hey, do you, Alex, do you want to show that video that he got that got a bazillion views?
Yeah, why not?
Go ahead. Let me know when you're sharing. Is it up?
Oh yeah.
No.
It's loading. We got a second.
Oh, you see it? Beautiful.
Men with no hose. Where are you?
So the men with hose are up here, receiving all of the attention from the hose, including you. And the men without hose are down here, trying to contact you on Bumble and not receiving an answer. Hope that helps.
I want to add like a caveat and nuance to this. Something actually I realized pretty recently when I did a Tinder Bumble experiment where I used my dad's photos. My dad is 59. I said he was 55. My dad is like he has no hair. My dad's not conventionally attractive by any stretch, right? But he's in pretty good shape for his age, at least, right? Mm-hmm. So he got 200 or 300 likes in like 48 hours. like some insane amount on Bumble. And there were some girls that were in like their 30s, even one or two girls in their 20s. Those were probably gold diggers, but there were some like legit attractive women. And his photos are not that good. So I'm wondering also like that effect that you're describing, home math, like how much does it lessen when you go older? Because I think it does, in my opinion.
Well, in general, yeah. So like if you're talking about it in terms of the entire society and the entire body of women that you're addressing, yeah, the older you get, the less attractive you are and the fewer women are going to like it. But there's always like if you're going bald and you shave your head, most girls will like you less, some will like you more. There are some girls I've met who they were just into 50-year-old guys. So when you get, you change in a certain way, most girls will like you less, but some will like you more. There's more or less always going to be some aspect of what you have, as long as you're doing good. It's going to be some aspect of what you have that appeals to some part of the market.
Yeah, I guess what I would say is like if you're in your 20s, 30s, and even early 40s, there's a lot of chads. There's a lot of like, you have a lot of competition. But if we get to late 40s, 50s, there's not a lot of chads at that range. There's a lot of people who let themselves go. There's some rich people, but who also physically let themselves go.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like guys who are financially stable, but also took good care of their body.
Yeah.
I think Michael wants to say something.
Yeah.
I'm fucking
right
47 years old. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. What do you think is the peak age
No comment.
for men? Because I've heard a few different numbers. I know what my number is.
So yeah, it definitely.
What do you think it is?
It definitely depends on your conditions and how you're living your life and what your qualities are. Peak age is about 32. The peak for physical attraction is about 27. So if you're a good-looking enough guy, your girls will like you the most at 27. But since you're getting more competent and making more money and becoming more, more of a competent like adult man, past 27, the where your attraction starts to go down and your competence starts to go up, you hit a peak at about 32. And it's going to be a pretty wide variance because men are looking for almost entirely physical attraction at first from women. We all look at 22-year-old girls and we go, that's what we want. But men offer such a wide variety of things that women will look at a young guy and go, well, he's hot, but he's dumb. So like, that's good. And they'll look at a 50-year-old guy and go, well, he's old, but he's really good at stuff and has a lot of money. So that's good. So there's a very broad window, but I think that the peak is just about 32 on average.
Gotcha. So on average, I thought it would be more around, so like 38 seemed to me like the more appropriate one for just from what I've seen, and the conditions might be different or whatever, because typically women go for men that are older than them, right? But the age bracket where women start to look at younger men is actually around the 40-year-old range. And then so 38, that's when women are 40, they tend to look at guys that are 38 and they start to find them attractive. So in terms of a data range, the 38 is the age where most women are looking at them as like, this is the best age.
Yeah,
now, but most guys aren't going for women in their mid-30s.
Shout out to all the cougars who took advantage of me in college.
Lloyd, but think about all the people you went to high school with. How many of them have let themselves go? Like for me, it's like 90%.
Yeah,
think about just the people you went to high school with. Like all of them peaked probably in high school or college.
Yeah. So obviously you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think the ability for a man to take care of himself, the reason why we even have this debate, because for women, the debate is it 19 to 25 or is it 20 to 25 or is it 20 to 23? Well, it's not that much variance. For men, we're going 27 to like 38, right? It's a much bigger variance. And that's because men can have a much bigger variance. I am in better shape now than I was at any time in my 20s. And I also think peptides and testosterone are going to actually stretch that time limit out for some people. And I also think a kind of a better knowledge when it comes to dieting, intermittent fasting. I'm almost as light now as I was when I was a senior in high school. I'm down to 203. Oh, wow. And all these things that I've been doing at 47 years old are very helpful. But I also know I go back to home for high school. I go back home to Dallas and I see all my friends I went to high school with, and everything you said is accurate. It's more than 80% of them are overweight.
That's a huge amount.
What age group do you find that you like the most, Michael? Because I know you've dated a wide variety of women and continue to do so. What is your favorite right now? What do you think?
Uh, man, it's really just like he said before. It's the looks, man. I like the volleyball player with the boob job. Like that's my look. That's really with long
Tall,
hair and
big
green
boobs.
eyes. Like, yeah, that's just my thing. And I've met some. You know, I'm seeing one very very popular fitness model, and she's 5'11" and she's 32, and then I'm seeing another girl who's Eastern European, and she's 23, and so it just kind of depends, and they're both of them are, I like extremely fit women with a boob job. So everybody's different, but there's no age. I think to me it's like, how do I feel when I'm with them? Do I feel like there's somebody I would be comfortable introducing my clients, my employees, and my closest friends to? And then when I'm trying to, because I work from home, is my home, does it feel more comfortable when she's here, or do I feel like I'm walking on eggshells when I'm sitting here talking about intersexual dynamics when she's here? Like that, those are the kind of things that I would look at. But I also think, I'll tell you this, for the most of my life, especially when I was in the military, I had no interest in a long-term relationship. So because I had no interest in a long-term relationship, the things that we talk about now as red flags, those were green flags to me. I didn't care. Like none of things, especially when you don't want long-term relationship, all of a sudden the tattoos don't matter, the drinking doesn't matter, they're just fun and hot.
Body count matters a lot less.
Very, dude, honestly, and Marcus could probably speak to this also. 10 years ago, PUA had no discussion of body count. No one gave a fuck about body count. It was never. In this last week, I've talked to Mystery and Owen Cook this week, and I asked them, I was like, did you ever remember one time talking about body count back in like 2008? And they're like, never. Not one time did we ever even bring it up. So these things now, I think now when we want a partner that's long-term, that we want to build something with, I always think of like Layla and Alex Hermosi, how they're both kind of in the same field and they help each other make money. For that kind of thing is like, who would I want to introduce Homath to? I want to introduce Alex, and who would I want to introduce Marcus to? Like, and not feel embarrassed, not have to worry about it. That's to me kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I find it's harder to find someone like that in their early 20s, because the women that I dated in their early 20s, I mean, they were getting drunk all the time. They were just trying to party. They would say really stupid things when I would introduce them to my friends. It would kind of make me, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, you can sit down, honey. But women in their late 20s, I find that they start to mature. You can introduce them to people, and they can still be relatively hot at that age bracket. So for me, late 20s is...
Girls can be hot as fuck in their mid-30s, too. I think.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And again, it's kind of for the same reasons. It's the way the technology to take care of yourself better is there. And also, you guys probably, I'm pretty old here. I used to manage a strip club in the late 90s, and boob jobs back then were a fucking crapshoot. They were a crapshoot, guys.
Yeah.
You have no idea. There were so many, like you'd see one girl with a perfect boob job, like, and then you'd see a bunch of girls with just messed up boobs, and they didn't know anything about internal wiring bras. Like liposuction was a complete blind crapshoot back then. Now you see these surgeries are getting better. Women are even going to Colombia and Istanbul to get these surgeries done, and they come back and you can't even tell, bro. It's like getting scary. So I do think both ages for men and women, I think, will get stretched later and later. But
when you say it's getting scary, you mean it's getting awesome. I think that's the word you're looking for.
It is awesome, except when they weren't born a woman. Then it's not awesome anymore.
Well, then it's bad.
That's scary,
and it's getting scary. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like, okay, speaking on that, I feel like a one safeguard that works really well for me, but that's because I don't like tall girls, is just go for girls who are like 5'4", 5'5", or less. The chance of them being born a man at that point are like very low, just because men are just not that short.
Yeah, it's a weird time
Small
that we're looking for how to exclude men from when you're looking for women.
That is an important component of it, nevertheless. No, I mean, I never really sweat that stuff too much. I think most of the time it's pretty obvious. I think most of the time trans women, they actually want to tell you because there's a threat of violence. If like the guy finds out last minute, there's a good chance he'll beat the shit out of her, which I'm not saying is a good thing, but at least that's what I've heard. This is an interesting
I have
comment.
a question for Homath.
Yeah.
Homath, so what do you do a lot of statistics and data, right? So what do you think are the most important statistics and data points that men need to know, especially between the ages of like, let's say like 25 to 45? Like what are the...
Do you mean about when, like what to know
about women, male-female dynamics, dating?
Yeah,
what
well,
kind of stats or data should they know?
You got to know about her past. You got to know about how she's lived. You have to know about, body count is a thing. There's a peak of reliability that I think is about at 4 or 5 partners before getting married, where if there's fewer than that, then they're going to wonder what they missed out on, and more than that, they're just going to be too used to it. So there's the statistics show a peak at right around there, but there's also a lot of like, is she good at breaking habits? That's a video I made a long time ago about people saying, if she had a hoe face, how can you trust that she's not going to go back to it? You have to see that she's able to do things like lose a lot of weight or get better at her job or quit smoking or something, to be able to change who she is. You got to know about her family history. You got to know about if her dad was around. Did her parents have a good relationship? Did her parents cheat? This is something that Mac and Murphy said recently. One of the big predictors of cheating is, did your parents cheat? That it looks like that some of that behavior is actually genetic. So you really got to do your research on women. You have to know them. And it's becoming increasingly difficult to do in the digital age. We don't date people that we know anymore, but you've got to, one of the things I said was watch her friends. There was a video where there's this one girl who was saying that she stayed a virgin until she was with her boyfriend, and her friend made a face that was like, "You bitch. Here, no, you didn't." And
I've seen you suck that dick.
Yeah, you got to be able to pick up on that stuff. So it's not always necessarily like, let me sit her down and get some data on her, but it's much more like, what are her relationships like? Where is she from? What are her habits? What is she, how does she argue with you? Can she take responsibility for things? Like, one of the things I look for in women is they're all going to have feelings. They're all going to yell about their feelings. How long does it take before she says, God, I don't know what came over me. You were right about this and that, and I was right about that and this. If they can't do that at all, that's bad. It's a lot of things more like that, much more subjective than hard data.
I think you touched on a lot of the big things, but just one I think is like super crucial, and then one that I think might have been left out is to double down is look at her. Can she maintain friendships? Like, is she always getting new friends every year, or has she had friends for like decades? That I think is just so underrated and such an important thing, because the girls who are like going to give you shit, they can't maintain friendships, or at least not more than like one or two. They always have to get like new friend groups, because they always like blow out with their friends. So if you see that the girl you're with, she's had friends for 15, 20 years, right? Like, and there's several of them. And then the second thing is, can she maintain a job? I think that's also like a really big one. If she's jumping jobs like every year she's got a new job or a new hustle she's doing, that's also a bad sign. Has she been in the same career for 5, 10 years? Doesn't mean she has to be in that forever, but can she
can't even fuck herself on camera on time. She's even late to that. You know what I'm saying? She's just unreliable.
Can't even get the mic
sex
ready.
with herself. She can't even get the
I
mic ready.
think the most important thing is that she doesn't have a victim mindset at all. Like, if she has any semblance of a victim mindset, then it's not worth it. It's the same thing for friends. Like, just people who view themselves as victims, they'll never take accountability. They'll always divert to accountability. I know people like that, and those are the last. Like, if any sense of her being a victim is an immediate like, I'm never going to be in a long-term relationship with her.
Yeah, you're not going to fix that.
Yeah, I've got two, and I'm curious what you guys think about these two. The first one is, so I have several clients that are divorced, and the ones that have daughters, they'll tell me this: when their daughters bring other girls home, their friends, they can quickly tell if there's a male figure in their life, quickly. And so the thing that I've noticed is, was there any male figure? It's usually a father, but it doesn't have to be a father. It could be, a volleyball coach. It could be a teacher, whatever. Is there any male figure she totally respected at some point? Or this is another thing that I've seen before, where it's like the mother and father split up, and the mother continually pollutes the daughter. Men aren't shit. Men are incompetent. Men cannot perform. Men are Homer Simpson, essentially. Right. If there's never been any male figure, like you see her talk to her father, you see her talk to her brothers, if there's never been any male figure that she's respected, then it's going to be hard for her to then trust you, because that's generally what the disrespect is. It's her inability to trust a man. And if you want to see the manifestation of this, just listen to the lyrics of Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla. That's the manifestation of a complete and total inability to trust any man. So that would be the first thing. And the second thing I would look for, does she consistently need stimulus outside of our bond? Is there always some level of stimulus that she needs existentially? Meaning, is she more like, you guys remember Austen Dunham the guys would pay him to message girls, right, to see if the loyalty check, right? Is there a necessity for excessive stimulus? Does she always need to be at the best parties? And is she willing to go to them without you? Is it always a constant level of stimulus that she needs in order to feel validated? Those would be the two main things I would look for. Is there any male figure that she can respect? And is she just totally addicted to stimulus? And by the way, having an excessive number of sexual partners as a woman can be a precursor for her needing a great deal of stimulus.
I think I agree with everything you said, but I want to push back a bit on the first one. You're not totally wrong. But for example, my girlfriend, her father was assassinated when she was young, and the mom never remarried, even though she had options, because like incest and rape is so much higher when there's a stepfather, and she did it out of concern for her children, especially her daughter. That's why the mom who had options, right, who could have, at that point, like remarried, decided never to, be out of concern for her daughter. So I think that is something that mothers will do if the original father, like if they get divorced or dies, is sometimes they just won't remarry until the child is an adult, just because they're worried about like rape or something like that.
Well, as long as she paints the father who's passed away as being like a positive figure, I don't even think that's a problem. But by the way, what you're saying is accurate. These numbers are insane. You are 100x more likely to be abused when there's a step parent in the house. Look these stats up if you don't believe me. And I believe you're something like 40 times more likely to die from one of your parents if there's a step parent in the house, if you're a child. Now, obviously, the amount of parents killing their children is an extremely low number, but you're 40 times more likely for that to happen. And it wasn't until like recent decades before, whenever there was child abuse, the police would rarely write down if it was a step parent or as a biological parent. Now, when we go back and we look at that data, this comes from evolutionary psychology. You find that when there's a step parent in the house, the likelihood of abuse is it's 2 orders of magnitude greater.
Yeah, it's crazy. Then the other side of it that I saw, like in my family, is like my mom's fiance's. For example, in his situation, his name is Michael, whatever. It's common first name. And so his father was very abusive to the kids, but especially to the mother. I remember Michael, when he was like a teenager, he had to actually stop the father from beating the shit out of the mother. So eventually the mother had enough of it, and she divorced the father. And then then she remarried, and the stepfather was like a father figure. Like this dude like thinks of his stepdad as his like real dad, right? Because he was like a really great father figure. So there's also that other side of it. Like, and it's such like I guess it's such a kind of like just a matter of luck, I guess, whether obviously the mom can do some like screening, but like sometimes people get really, really lucky with their step parents and they become a great role. And sometimes they fucking like literally do the worst shit ever.
Yeah. It's how people react to what happens. I try not to judge people too harshly on their family. You don't really control who your parents are. I more judge them on how they react to situations. I don't know if anyone's advocating this on this channel, but I never tell guys to like ask for a woman's body count. Number one, because most people lie about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But also too, it's more important to see how they react, like Michael says, to stimulus, how they react to challenges, how they react to conflict. What are they going to do there? That's really what I'm looking for. It's to judge them on that. You'll find that a lot of times later, but that's the stuff that I look for.
Yeah, I mean, I really agree with this. I think there's an element where you can get data, you can ask her questions, and you can grab that, and these can be like red flags. And I think the biggest thing, which most guys,
your audio is a little fucked. I just want to give you a heads up. Your audio is like really crackly.
Are you using Are you using the microphone in your headphones, Marcus?
I am.
Can you switch to your desktop, Mike?
Yeah.
Is this any better, or is it still shitty?
It's a little better.
It's better.
Okay, sorry. I don't have my amazing setup like Marco right now. Essentially, yeah, I agree. You want to base this off experience, because I think a lot of guys, they get into a relationship way too early. If you just wait till you're at that 6-month point or that 1-year point, you've got enough experience now to actually look at this relationship. And if you're too blinded to, get your friends help here. They can usually let you know from the outside if it's good or not. Is ask yourself, like, do you have a healthy relationship here that you're actually enjoying? Because you can have all the data, you can have all the facts. Like, this girl on paper might be full of green flags, but at the end of the day, if you just have a shitty relationship, it's a shitty relationship. And if you have a good relationship, then it's good. So I think like all these are amazing. You want to keep an eye on them. These are things you want to test for. But at the end of the day, if you're like 6 months, if you're a year in and you're not having a good time, get the fuck out of there. Too many guys just stay in. They have this hope. They have this fantasy. They're fearful that they won't find anyone else. You need to rely on your friends here. Just ask them, give me your honest opinion, and you need to be able to listen to them, right? Even before you get into that relationship, have this planned. At the 6-month point of any relationship, I'm going to go to my best friend and ask them, is this good or not? And if he says no, I need to really, really reflect on this. So I think that's super important.
Yeah, another red flag, if all your friends hate the girl, then probably they're right.
Yeah,
like your friends should not all or one of them could be a hater, but if the majority of your friends say don't say good things about the girl or don't get along with the girl, then probably something wrong with the girl.
Yeah, you're always the last one who knows bad things about the person you're dating.
Yeah. I just call Homath and ask him whenever I have a decision to make about a girl.
No,
that's generally what happens.
Homath, I have another question for you, man. So we've talked a lot about data that makes a woman a good partner, but what about data for men? Does a body count for a guy affect their ability to be in a relationship?
Yeah, it does, but a little bit less. Like the curve is very similarly shaped for men and women, but I think that for men it can go a little bit higher. I think men can tolerate a little bit more experience without getting like addicted to novelty. So,
Homath, what's the data on that? I'm at like pushing like 400 here. I need to know if I'm fucked. So what's the data you're citing?
You're cooked. I have to look up the data. I think that it's pretty close to like somewhere like 4 to 7, if I'm remembering. I gotta search for it.
I've never seen any data on the guy side. I've seen the Institute of Family Studies on the female divorce, but I've never seen anything about men.
Yeah, I know
because men don't file for divorce that often. Yeah. Men just don't file for divorce that often. That's why. Even when they cheat, they don't file for divorce.
They don't. Yes, they don't file, but they can be the cause of divorce. I think that's the one deceiving thing about the 80%.
So it's not deceiving. If it was deceiving, that what you'd see in lesbian relationships, you'd see a lower divorce rate. You see a higher divorce rate. It's women are leaving relationships because of Professor Robert Trivers in the 1970s came out with parental investment hypothesis. Women have more to lose, so women are pickier. Period. And women have more of a proclivity to see the grass is greener in the other yard, and they have more of a proclivity to leave the relationship. I'm not saying men aren't the problem. Often they are, but I'm saying in a vacuum, women will still leave a relationship. So statistically significant is outside of one standard deviation. So that'd be like 63.27%. This is 80% of divorces are initiated by women. That is 1.5 standard deviations. That's way more than just like 50-50. And in lesbian relationships, 78% of the time they get divorced. In homosexual relationships, it's 28% of the time. Maybe men are the problem. I'm just saying men being the problem isn't the main reason women leave.
No, you misunderstood my point. Everything you said is correct. The point I'm making is like, let's say you have an unhappy marriage. A woman is more likely to just pack up her bags and leave, versus a man is more likely to just cheat or put up with it or self-sabotage in other ways. That's the point I'm saying. Is the relationship could have been initially even fucked by the man, right? The man could have cheated, and the woman developed resentment. But they have an uncomfortable situation at the home. But the man is more likely to just kind of grind it out, and they'll like maybe seek elsewhere. Versus a woman, she's more likely, as we know, to fall in love with her fair partner. So she's more likely to just actually pull the trigger. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, I agree a little bit with Alex, but also with Michael as well too. I think you guys.
We're not disagreeing. Me and Michael aren't disagreeing here. I think it's just I think Michael's correct. I'm just talking about something a bit different. In terms of like men and women will handle that type of situation.
Cool. So what are the other things that Homath? What are the other like data points that men should be looking at to make themselves into a better partner or more successful with women?
Well, it's very similar stuff to what you're looking for in women. I really got to organize my files. I just had one pulled up. People are looking for things like kindness and trustworthiness. These are things that stick out right away that make you, a good partner. You need to be stable. You need to, again, having a job for a long time, having friendships for a long time, knowing his father's behavior, and how that's going to genetically transpose. All of that kind of carries over really well. The main difference between looking for reliability in a woman and looking for reliability in a man is that the man most of the time is going to be the provider. And most women lose their interest in men when they lose their jobs or fall into a weak position of some sort. You have to be attractive in other ways if that happens to you. I think, one of the biggest drivers behind women initiating 80% of divorces is that women are usually the prize. Like women are just not all that interested in most men unless they have something to offer on top of just being. Like, you're just not that good looking and funny. You're just not that awesome. And so you have to do stuff that makes women like you. And then they like you overall. And then one day the things you were doing go away. And then there isn't that much to like about you anymore. So,
yeah, I think also just it's important to understand the concept of like emotional investment. And if the girl's very emotionally invested in the relationship, like a better, cooler, better looking, funnier guy could come along, but she's still likely, unless she's highly novelty driven, to stay with you as long as there's no resentment, because she's just so emotionally invested. So just the concept of emotional investment, I think, doesn't get talked about enough in the manosphere, at least.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
That graphic. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, no, I found the graphic. The third thing was dominance, and there's dominance towards same sex. So men being dominant towards other men is a big thing.
There we go. I was waiting for something like that.
Yeah, that you are.
Shut up, Lloyd. I got to establish my dominance.
Yeah, that if
otherwise my grandpa's gonna leave.
Yeah,
baby, watch me. I'm gonna put him in his place.
If you're in charge of the friend group, if you're the leader, women end up attracted to their bosses, stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. I was waiting for that because I was like, I know there's going to be guys out there who are like, I'm kind, I'm conscientious, I got a stable job, and I ain't getting no bitches.
Right, because you're at the bottom of every hierarchy that you belong to.
Yeah. There we go.
Or just have no charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep.
Have you seen any data on, I guess, like, do people's preferences or do the stats change, like, with age, like, especially with women? Do the stuff that they look for change at all?
Yeah, they shift. So as women get older, they're looking for the same things, but they're way more likely to be lenient on looks and excitement so that they can get stability. But it doesn't mean that they like the guy more. They just kind of are looking for something closer to a simp to plug into that role, and then she may or may not be faithful to him depending on what kind of person she is.
Yeah, I saw that firsthand. Kind of, I was at a dinner with. This is really early on. I was like 23 years old. I'm at a dinner with like women in their like late 20s, and I was trying to sleep with one of the girls. And so like I'm at this dinner and I'm listening to these women talk, and I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, we're just talking about how the best sex you'll ever have is not going to be your husband." And I'm like, "Why would you think that?" Like in my head, it didn't make sense at all, and I had no idea about any of this stuff. And it's because women absolutely compromise on those things. And the stats are like that guy will get married, but he will have a lot less sex. He will be the one who's like, oh, I got to sleep on the couch tonight.
He's going to be Ray Romano.
There should be no situation ever where you have to sleep on the couch. That should never happen once. That like concept to me never made sense. And also here's another thing. Maybe I'm like spoiled because I date Latina women and they are typically like sexual, but I've never had in a real long-term relationship, I've never had an issue with sex where I was like denied sex. Like there could be like where the girl is sick or something like that, but it's not that I'm denied. It's that like, all right, I'm not gonna like fucking rape you while you have 103-degree like temperature. But I've never been in this situation. Like I'm curious to hear your guys' experience. Have you ever been in a situation like with a girlfriend where like you were actually denied sex? Because this is like a complaint a lot of guys have in relationships, but it's not one that like I ever experienced.
Yeah, that did happen to me when I was 23. I had that one bad girlfriend that was like the one major early experience. And that's when I still believed that, if you do enough of this good guy stuff, then you get paid back in, love and loyalty. And it just wasn't true. After that was over, I went and invested all my points in becoming attractive. I never had that problem again. But yeah, I was back when I still trusted in all the blue pill stuff that did happen to me. There were, I think, several points of more than 2 weeks over a year-long period where that happened. And it was just like, she was unhappy about something. She didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know how to fix it. And it was just distance for that whole time.
I don't think women understand how much of a punishment that can, for some men, like it really can mess with their self-esteem, and it creates a spiral where he becomes more needy, more beta, and it creates bigger problems because she's doing this. And then also it creates this dynamic, you obey me and you get sex as the prize. That's a terrible fucking dynamic for any relationship. And so, man, and they just make it worse.
The frame should be the opposite. Is that like the sex is something you're doing for the girl? I think Marcus can probably agree with that one. But like that's almost like what the
Marcus,
frame I think.
Marcus withholds sex. If she doesn't pay for dinner, Marcus will withhold sex from her.
Bro, do you know what the funny? By the way, is my mic okay? I'm using AirPods now.
The AirPods.
It sounds like shit, but it's fine.
It's fine.
This
I'll
mic
turn
is
you
better.
off myself. Yeah.
Fuck you all. I'll switch back to my computer.
I had one woman who I was going out with. This is like when I first started like learning this stuff, and I was like I had like a few women that I was seeing at the time, but there was one who I really liked a lot. She was a model, and she was so hot. I thought she was like so gorgeous. But I remember we went to bed one time, and I wanted to have sex, and she was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm not in the mood." And I was just like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" And I actually like. Retrospectively, I probably could have handled that a little better. I literally just walked out on her, and I never dealt with that again. But I was like, "You're not in the mood? Like what? Like obviously, in my head at that time, I was like, she's going to be in the mood for a guy, and I'm not that guy, so she must obviously think that I'm unattractive." And that's
sometimes a girl could legitimately not be in the mood, but it's because she hasn't been turned on enough. Like there hasn't been enough foreplay, and that you could get her in the mood.
And I didn't understand that at that time, but you know, I might not have been off too. What were you going to say, Michael?
There also can be some genetic proclivities, or there can be some trauma. Like for instance, she associates sex with this was an abusive situation I was in, and every time I am forced to have sex, it's a precursor to abuse, and then therefore she's quote unquote not in the mood. The point is, like, you're probably right. Still, this is probably not a girl you want to be in a relationship. She could be your friend, but probably not a girl you want to be in a relationship with. Real quick, one thing that's going to make the blue pill people extremely angry. Could you show the screen I'm sharing? This kind of backs up what
although to be fair, I don't think there's any blue pill people on my channel, but sure, here it is.
Oh, there you go. Based on this is the thing. So again, I'm a big fan of Mac and Murphy. I'm a big fan of Alex Datesite, but they do this thing where they start talking, and I always say this as well, men and women, when they are promiscuous before marriage, men and women are both more likely to cheat. But based on the research data, women are significantly more influenced by premarital promiscuity than men. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. All of you need a subscription to perplexity.ai. This is the greatest fucking research tool in the history of mankind. Statistical evidence, promiscuity accounts for almost twice as much variance in future infidelity for women, 45% compared to 25% for men. The impact on marital satisfaction, multiple sexual partners prior to marriage reduces marital quality for women, but not men. For every additional premarital sexual partner, the likelihood of reporting an extremely satisfying marital relationship decreases by 5.3% for males, shows approaching significant decrease for females. And the number of partners, the average number of lifetime sexual partners differs significantly by gender. Men, the average is 11.3. Women, the average is.
Where do we get this? Men average. The data I've seen is 7 or 8.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you what, because this was confusing to me. But like I went back and I try to get Perplexity to like straighten this out for me. What happens is there's a mean and a median. And the median, and I keep forgetting, one is 5 and the other one is 15. I believe the mean is 15 and the median is 5. I believe that's the case. And that's where we get some of these weird numbers. So I don't know exactly, but I've seen anywhere the number for men, a lifetime sexual partner, somewhere between 5 and 15. That generally where like the middle of the deviation is.
So it's a mean versus medium thing, you're saying? Yeah,
I believe that's what it is.
Okay.
But shouldn't for every woman having sex, there should be a man? Like, shouldn't they be the same numbers? I'm confused.
People lie.
Well, no, because the woman could have
women, multiple women. Yeah. So like a small group of men in college having sex with multiple partners, and a large group of men in college not having sex with any. So you could have basically a manifestation of hypergamy.
No, but that averages out. If you have 10 men and 10 women, and you're doing the study, and there's one guy that's slept with all 10 women, then you still have 10 guys, and that'll be an average of like one partner each. And you'd have 10 women with an average of one partner each. Like those numbers.
The reason why there's a gap is because there's a large group of men at 0. That there's. Oh, you're talking about the averages.
Then you're talking about an average, right? So
the average. Statistically speaking, the average is. If you took every single human on the planet, would the averages equal? I'm trying to think. I don't.
No, Marcus. Let me kind of.
The only way this doesn't work is if you're talking about like threesome. So say there's one guy.
No, Marcus. Let me break it down. So think about it like this, right? Let's say there's a city of 30,000 people, right? And let's say that it's a closed off city, like no one's allowed to come and enter, and it's half girls, half guys, right? 15,000 men, 15,000 women. And let's say in this city there's 100 guys who do like almost all the fucking, right? There's 100 guys who do almost all the fucking, right? And so some of these girls have a body count of 30, 40, 50 because they went through 100 guys. And then the rest of the guys have a low body count of like 1 or 2, right? And then let's say they do a survey. So they just randomly ask 1,000 people in this town, right? 500 women, 500 men. Do you see how there could be a disparity then?
But then
if you take the mean.
The problem
hey guys, I got to run. I'll see you guys later.
All right, brother.
All right, see you, buddy.
Then there's a problem with the methodology because you're not taking a big enough group. So what you're saying is there's a sampling bias here that you're only
figure that out.
Guys that are like,
no, it's a great question.
Like if you survey every single person in that city of like 15,000 people, then the averages should be the same because for every man that has sex, there needs to be one woman. Unless you're saying that there's one guy that has a threesome or like an orgy, then the numbers could be skewed. But otherwise, like I imagine the reason there's a difference here is because men lie and they say they fuck more women, and women lie and say they fuck less men. Like that's how you could get like disparity.
I don't think so.
100%. If you have, let's just pick a simple number. You have 10 guys, 10 women. No matter how they have sex, whether it's one guy fucking all the girls.
No, I know, but I think you're.
Have the same average.
I know, but I think it's okay. Let's let someone whose last thing is math answer this because math was never my strongest thing. I was always a writing guy. Whole math, take it away.
The analyzing the data there is some of what you're talking about in it. I interviewed Mack and Murphy a little bit more than a year ago, and we talked about how they collect data through surveys on who cheats and who's had how many partners and how you can tell. And there's no way to make absolutely sure that you're accounting for who's lying and in what direction and why and how much. There's no way to make sure. They do have ways of compensating for that, but there isn't any way to absolutely know. So there's always a little bit of mystery. However, the mystery, like there would have to be some pretty extreme stuff going on that we're not looking at to account for some of these disparities that we're seeing. It's I haven't gotten around to depicting it very clearly yet, as I usually do, but there are ways that you would, if you have one woman and one man and that's a pairing, then how is it that some of them have more partners than the other? I think that there are ways around that because some people are sharing with more. I think that the
so I have the answer here.
Yeah.
So let's see what Markus is saying.
You want to go ahead and pull it up again? Markus had a great point. So you want to pull it up. So enclosed populations is defined at a time period. The mean number of opposite sex partners reported by men and women should be equal. Markus is correct. The reported gap can be reduced by capping the extremely high number at the 99th percentile. So what you can do is that what they'll do is take outliers for men who've been with like 1,500, 1,600 women, some of them, and you do that for men. If you do that for men and women are going to have a lower number because they're much in the top 1 percentile of women. You're going to have 35 sexual partners. The top 1 percentile for men, you're going to have 150. So you're going to have 4 times as many. So that could account for some of it. And then they may actually do the same thing at the bottom. There are many fewer women that are at 0 than men. And then also adjusting for counting versus estimation strategies. I know my exact number. Some people don't know their exact number. And then what they found is statistically men tend to round up by 5 and women tend to be more of an exact number. I don't agree with that. I think it's probably lower than their exact number. And then accounting for attitudes about sexual behavior, like you guys said before, men are more likely to round, women are more likely to round. If you do those 2 things, then you're going to get the 11, what did we say before? 11 and 4, those 2 numbers.
Yeah. So there's some
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
There.
I think. Yeah, exactly. I think the magic, as Michael said, is that when a guy cops a blowjob and he tries to have sex but doesn't, he's like +1. And when a girl's drunk and has sex, she's like, doesn't really count. There's an element of that going on as well. I never knew about the statistical removal of like top and bottom. That might be going on as well.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's got to be one.
That's also the sample.
Having orgies.
Even if you do a sample of 1 million people, there's still going to be like you can't ask 6 billion people. So there's going to be no way to have the whole population ever, or not even close to it.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's with every study, right? You just try to pick the most representative sample of the population.
Yeah.
I've drawn a quick sketch of how the median can be 5 and the mean can be 15. The people up here are just getting so much done that they're going to skew that a lot, but it can still be that, the average person has that many.
The reason is like no one. There's a
Can you
wall
explain the
for
difference
guy
between the
at
median
0.
and mean for some people in chat, including
in statistics, the median is if I stack a 1 million cases and I take the 500,000th case, that is the median one. That is the one in the middle. If I were to order them, stratify them in order, the mean is when I average them all by the number of occurrences. Does that make sense? So the problem is,
get those confused in fucking middle school.
Right. The reason why in this case, because this is logarithmic, the reason why the mean always has to be higher than the median is because 0 is a wall. You cannot have a negative body count. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of guys who are at 0, but nobody, while the wall on 0 is capped at 0, the wall on the high end is capped at, Ishmael the Bloodthirsty and Dan Bilzerian. Like that wall just keeps going and going. What Wilt Chamberlain, that goes on forever. So statistically, you're always going to have a mean greater than the median. Sorry to cut you guys off. I work in statistics for a living.
No, you're good. You're good.
Here's another little drawing of it real quick. Here's one guy with a body count of 1, one guy with a body count of 1, and one with 1,000. So the mean is 333 2/3, but the median is 1.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. I feel thoroughly humiliated. So let's move on to the next. No, I'm just kidding. So this is I've had this on the screen for a while, but I actually do want to have a little discussion about this. There's no such thing as a good girl. All women will shit on you if you're a typical nice guy simp. So the idea is that I think what he's getting at is like there are, of course, women who are very kind, but if you're going to be a simp, even that really nice, kind girl will shit on you. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, you have to be respected by the woman that you're with. If you can't manage that, then she's just not going to feel good things about you. If she doesn't feel good things about you, she's not going to treat you in a way that's going to make you feel good.
But will she actually shit on you if she's like, let's say she's a really, really good person, but will she?
They'll all be tempted to. Mm-hmm. And the worse that it gets for her and the longer she has to be in it, the more you're at risk for it.
Yeah.
I get really triggered sometimes where I see all women. Like, obviously that's never going to be true. It's never going to be the case with almost everything, right? But yeah, for the most part, this is true, but you can say it in what feels like a less like woman-hating way. At the end of the day, like you want to have respect from the girl that you're with. If you're acting like a nice guy and simp, it's not attractive to anyone, even other guys, even if you're thinking about like work promotions and stuff like that. You want to learn to be a little bit more assertive. You want to learn to understand your own worth and move through the world in that way. And as soon as you do that, you're going to get more attraction from women, more respect. Women will treat you better, of course. But like just the verbiage of that always just feels off. Like, I don't think you need to be so like fucking, it almost feels like hating in that sense. Just, improve yourself and you'll get better results, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it has to be that way. Like, just the idea is that, like, if you're a weak person who doesn't have boundaries and don't respect yourself and you're a pushover, that, like, even some really nice women, they may not, like, actively shit on you, or at least not consciously, but they will at least subtly disrespect you because you don't respect yourself, right? Like, I mean, like, even for, like, if you had a friend who was just, like, had no boundaries, like, it would take every ounce of self-awareness not to, like, kind of like pick on him, right? Subconsciously. So it's just like you have to, like, no matter how rich, poor, good looking, bad looking you are, you do have to have self-respect and boundaries that you're willing to at least somewhat enforce, right? They can be like, somewhat, you can bend a little bit, like, okay, like, listen, you do this shit again, we're done, right? Like, there could be a little bend on certain things, but there has to be some boundaries. And there are a lot of guys who don't have any boundaries in relationships. The girl can do anything. There's just actually this YouTuber who I've been watching a lot of videos from. His name is Dr. Todd Grande. He's like he's the most deadpan face. He's a psychologist. He's married to a fat chick. I don't know why that's relevant, but he just does these breakdowns. But what's interesting is he'll do all these like analysis where the woman either killed her husband or she beat her husband or something like that, and it always starts with like the guy just having no boundaries and the woman just like just upping the ante. Most women wouldn't go that far, but yeah. So I think that stuff is interesting.
So I think what it is for a lot of us, because we do have boundaries, while this may be true, it doesn't seem like that big of a problem. But the problem is when you see people complaining, like the person who asked this question, what generally happens is in our work life, or in our academic life, or some other place where we're dealing with other men and we're logical, if we use logic, reason, and accountability, let's just say like we're a sales closer and we hit all of our KPIs, we are rewarded with more money and more responsibility. However, if we do the same thing in our relationships, we use reason, logic, and accountability and do everything that she says, i.e. treating her like our boss, she will always punish us. always. And so that's the problem, is that we need some level of accountability, and we need to be leaders. And often, most of the time, it's not going to be the woman who tells you that you need to be a leader. You're supposed to just get it, and she's not going to tell you how to get it. So for a lot of guys who maybe the guy who's asking the question, he's had a job where he had to use a lot of logic, reason, and accountability, and he takes that same lens and he uses it in his relationship with women, and then all of a sudden he's like, every time I'm a nice guy simp, women shit on me. And it's like, no, they just speak a different language. It's like, every time I go to Mexico and speak English, nobody understands me. It's like, no, they just speak Spanish. They speak a different language. When you understand that language, this doesn't seem that big of a problem.
If at work you're a pushover, you have no boundaries, like you're less likely to get promoted by your male boss because they just don't respect you, right? Like,
if I've got a rainmaker who's a closer, I don't give a fuck if, like, I honestly don't care if he respects me that much. If I have a rainmaker, he's gonna get promoted. You see, like, the lunacy you hear from like Aaron Rodgers and some of these other like NBA players, NFL quarterbacks. They don't care if you guys perform. If you do everything that your boss asks you as far as performance, you can get away with a lot of shit.
Should be different, but let's say he's a salesperson. He's not going to be a rainmaker as a salesperson if he has no self-respect, because the clients won't respect him. And if a client,
I'm sorry, I'm not talking about self-respect. I'm talking about like doing what your boss asks you.
Oh yeah,
that's the difference between self-respect. So I say, hey, can you do 50,000 this week? He does 60,000. I don't ever punish him for that. Whereas with a woman, often it'll be like, I need you to do this, take out the trash, do this. You do it all. Yes, ma'am. Do it all. And then at the end, she's just not turned on by you. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's like often the relationship extreme obedience with women is not interpreted the same way as it is with like respect and obedience with your subservience to your boss.
I see your point. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like obviously your boss, the dynamic with you and your boss should be a very different dynamic of you and your girlfriend. Like
bro, if I had a guy doing $200,000 a week for me, I wouldn't even fucking talk to him. I'd take him to dinner. I'd be so goddamn nice to him. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like I wouldn't say shit to him if I had a guy like that. It was crushing it like that. Hey, one guy asked a question. I do want to comment on this. The top 1% of women will be hookers, who I guarantee you have a higher body count than 35. Again, let's get really nerdy and use statistics. There's 4 billion women on the planet, which means there's 40 million women would make up the top 1%. When you talk about women attractive enough to be a prostitute like that, there's a great number of women who are not attractive enough to do that. There are not 40 million prostitutes on the planet. So no, this answer is incorrect. Not the top 1% of women are probably, and by the way, we're also talking about the United States. I know in other countries it may be different. In the United States, 1%, the top 1% being 35 is probably accurate. Now, do we all know a girl, like 1 or 2 hookers or sugar babies or whatever that have been with way more than 35 for sure? But you're confusing that anecdotal experience with 1%. You guys don't realize how big 1% is.
Yeah. Also, hotter women have less reason to become prostitutes, and there's plenty of ugly hookers.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
True. No, that's true. Marcus, you wanted to say something about withholding sex from women, but you got stopped. So Marcus, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, sure. I think we were just talking before about when you find yourself in situations, or when guys find themselves in situations where they want to have sex with their partner and the girl isn't interested at all. I think in a long-term relationship, this is fairly normal. You're going to have like some difference in libido, and it's usually the guy that's going to have a higher libido. So I think Michael Sartain spoke about this. You don't want to get in the cycle where it feels needy, where it's like, I'm trying to fuck you, because now like you go up to like hug the girl or kiss her. She's putting this wall up because she's like, I know where this leads. I don't want to give them a false expectation. So it goes from no sex to no cuddling to no kissing, and then to like zero intimacy whatsoever. Yeah. So I think you do need to think about, how do I turn this girl on? It's not just a matter of like, you can do the red pill thing where it's like, every time I want sex, the girl should give it to me and I should just, you're better off having a dynamic where both of you are enjoying sex. And so like, if you want to have sex, there should be foreplay involved in that. There should be a back and forth. You should find out what each other like. And so someone joked about like giving the girl LMR. 100% you should. Like if you got a girl that isn't that high libido and isn't that interested, turning her on a little bit and then whispering in her ear like that's all you get, right? Or you're not allowed to come. I guarantee you this girl is going to be begging you and chasing you, and giving LMR to a girl is one of the most entertaining things you can ever do. And watch her try to like find her way through to have sex with you. Like I had some girls that would like try to massage.
They can get real rapey. It's awesome.
Bro, it's hilarious watching them like try to work that. They've never had to do it ever in their
life. No, babe, just let me just a little bit, please.
It's so funny. And so, yeah, you just have to, instead of just thinking like, caveman. I'm just going to keep pushing for this and keep asking her and get angry or like try to give consequences to this, or no, just like go back to the foundational level of sexuality, right? Like make it enjoyable, make it fun, get it turned on, and you'll have a much better like sexual dynamic. You'll have a girl like interested and wanting to have sex with you. So
you can't logic your way to pussy. There's no logic that's going to solve the sex problem. I would say this though, like if you're good in bed and you can consistently make the girl come at least once, but ideally multiple times, she's going to want sex as much, if not more than you. That's just been the rule for every possible relationship, situationship I've ever been in. But like this only applies if she has a good time when she fucks you. If she's like barely ever comes or like maybe has one orgasm once a week, then like, yeah, like you will get that because it's like not that fun for her. But like if objectively, I think that sex, if the guy's good in bed, like let's say the guy and the girl are both good in bed, I think objectively sex is just going to be overall more pleasurable for the woman because she can come like 3-4 times and a guy can't do that. So by that logic, I think that like she should want as much, if not more than you.
Yeah.
So the next question is from Michael. When you're using social proof in status environments intensify their attraction, does it get more slutty or does insecurity get in the way of not being competent? Rise.
Yeah, it's a great question. It kind of depends on the girl, and it kind of depends on the type of social proof. So if the social proof is at a mansion party, no one's watching, girls are drinking tequila, that's a different type of a place where there's social proof than when I'm hosting a charity for homeless children and we're collecting toys and all the girls are in gowns. That's a very different type of social proof. So whether or not they get slutty kind of depends on whether or not they feel like they're being judged and what kind of stimulus the girl looks for. I think that's probably the most important thing. I try to make the point that as a man, if you have any trouble generating attraction with women, you should not. I appreciate the question. You shouldn't be asking this question though. You need to learn to become like Orion Teraband says. Psychax, it's like your prime directive is attraction in general. You need to be attractive to all women. Myron says you need to have sex with 50 women before you get married. I don't know if you need to have sex with 50 women, but you need 50 women to want to have sex with you. That's the difference. You need attraction in general, and don't worry about the good girls or the bad girls, because what you'll find is because we're all the same species, our evolutionary psychology in women, and I was literally just asking GBT about this last night, in women, what you'll find is that the attraction triggers they feel are similar when you're a woman who has a body count of 600 or a woman who's a virgin in Kentucky. They tend to have similar attraction triggers. So just focus on being attractive. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add to that as well. I'm sure Michael's faced this as well. This does happen sometimes, the insecurity thing. Like if you do have a bunch of hot women around you and you build a lot of attraction, so you're DHVing or you're showing a lot of sexual competency, you will actually face this problem or concern from some women where you will get a response of like, why me? Right? Like there's been situations where I've gone to like take the girl home. She's like, why me? You could have like any girl here. And that's a perception. Like literally I could pick any girl from this party. Like, why me? And so sometimes you get the, hey on, am I just being used here? You're just gonna have sex with me? Is there anything else here? Like it's this confusion from her. And so sometimes it goes against usually a lot of our other advice like we'd ever give. Sometimes you do need to actually simp out a little bit. Like sometimes I have had to just sit back and be like, actually, you know what? This is what I like about you. And to make it feel more genuine and honest, I usually say what I don't like about them too. So I might say, look, at first I thought you were just like a dumb blonde bimbo or some shit at this party. Like I didn't give a fuck. But honestly, after talking to you, you're really interesting. I actually like get along with you. This is kind of cool.
I love the fact that you think the earth is flat. That turns me on.
Exactly.
That really happened. I really did that the other day. I actually did that.
Oh my!
You want to have some fun? You want to have some fun?
Science, yeah.
You want to have some fun? Any girl that you meet with blonde hair and a boob job, just be like, man, I can't believe this flat earth stuff. Can you? And she'll be like, oh my God, you know too? Dude, for some reason, every chick that's super hot with again, call my bluff. The ones with huge fake boobs and blonde hair, go up to them and be like, yeah, it's crazy, this flat earth stuff, isn't it? And they'll be like, oh, you know too? It's nuts, bro. If they own a gun, I'm telling you, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
If they own a gun, maybe, yeah.
I know the election was stolen. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know at least 20 like IG models that are all blonde. They all have huge fake boobs, and all of them think the earth is flat. It's crazy. And I've been trying to get them on my show, but they don't want to come on. 2 of them were in Playboy. It's fucking madness. But going back to what you were saying, Marcus, you were just talking about, so what we'd like to say is, how much attraction do you need to be with a woman? The answer is enough. You need enough attraction. You don't need too much. If you have too much, like what he said before, the reason why you don't hear us give this advice often is because we're coaching white belts. If you're a guy who generates attraction with ease, which 90% of men don't have that problem, but if you are a guy who generates attraction with ease all the time, you really do need to work on comfort. You don't need the girl to be insanely attracted to you, and then on the way back, beautiful women are walking by like blowing kisses at you. Don't need anymore. It's like, it's enough. She's already ready. She's good. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the issues when you have too much attraction, like what he said before, and the girl's like, why me? Clearly she has no problem understanding why all of these women find you attractive, which means she probably finds you attractive. So what you would do in that case, like what Marcus said, is now I need to build enough comfort to make you think that I'm not just going to use you for sex. And so that's where we give that what would seem like simpy advice, but I would not give that to a white belt because he doesn't know how to generate attraction with women. And so if I were to tell him the same thing, he would screw up. Unless he has enough attraction, I would never advise that.
Yeah, it's advanced.
Is the women shitting on men a result of loss of Christian values since the past being kind and virtuous could say? No, I think it's just the loss of specifically respect for the man. I think Christian women, I think like 50 years ago in a very Christian couple, I think there's plenty of cases, there's just no social media, where the Christian wife would be demeaning and calling her husband a little fucking pussy who has a limp dick. I think that used to happen. We just didn't have social media, so we don't have any like videos of it.
Yeah, we used to restrain that kind of behavior more, and now we just have this ethics in our society that people should be able to do whatever they want, whatever you feel, express yourself however you want, and there isn't any such thing as a wrong thing to do as long as
the whole math that came in the 60s almost, the free the whatever you want, like that was but
it wasn't like
as prevalent.
It's spread out since then, and now it's really hard to find anybody who doesn't actually think that. Like even these girls who say that they're trad or whatever, they are dyed in the wool feminists, but they're wearing like trad as a uniform, and they still have all the beliefs about doing what they want with their lives and expressing themselves the way that they want.
Well, I think when you're single, right, you should be able
Marcus, do you see the question?
I think when you're single, you should be able to do what you want with your life. But I think when you're in a relationship, you have a commitment. I think most sane people realize that you can't have total freedom in a relationship. Like there has to be, like, you have to live within each other's boundaries, and the basically the spoken or unspoken terms of your relationship, right? So that the freedom, you do lose some freedom in a relationship, right? But it should be an acceptable loss because you overall get so much value from the relationship. Or are we talking about the same thing, or are we talking about different things?
The Marcus question from Lawn Strokes, it's hilarious.
Okay, sure, I'll pull it up. I'm just curious what whole math thinks about what I said.
I kind of got lost. We were talking about a couple different things.
That's all good. All right, it's not that important. All right, let's go to this. Marcus, is a guy banging boatloads of 4-6 but brags about smashing is easy and looks like they're subjective? Is it difficult to logically argue the guy, or is it possible to tell them they're forced though? I wonder who we're referring to right now. I just can't put my finger on it, but it can't be the Lucario guys because it says 6s, so that would be not possible. So someone else.
Who are we talking about? Who's the Lucario?
Oh man, you missed like a whole fucking saga. Like,
if you want to have some fun, watch the debate between Lucario and that one was hilarious, bro.
Yeah,
all right.
There are these guys in the manosphere, and they do street game, which is real game. What me and Marcus and Michael used to do is like I don't know. I think it's like pussy white guy game or something. It's like it's not street game.
So you're being sarcastic, and he's not going to understand what we're talking about. So Lucario believes in hyper direct. I go to a girl and immediately tell whether or not she wants sex. If she does not want sex, then I leave. And then if she does want sex, I immediately try to get sex from her. If she's not interested in me, then I'm not attracted to her. Now, of course, this works very well on very unattractive women if you go out and talk to a lot of women. But he doesn't allow for any possibility that a man could not be attractive to a woman and then become attractive to a woman. And even if he does it and is successful, which he has to admit some guys can do that, then then the only reason they're successful is because these men are beta who chase women. So it doesn't matter if my girlfriend brings me dinner and another girl home and they both give me a blowjob. I'm still chasing women because I put in any work to generate attraction. That's their mindset. And then of course with them, when we ask them for receipts, like, can you show us the attractiveness of the women that this works on? They'll never show us anything.
No, I actually saw some receipts. I saw 2 receipts in the DMs. One of them was a fat chick. One of them was actually pretty like decent. Like I would say is like you couldn't see the face or anything like that. It was just the body. One was decent. One of them was just a fat chick.
The fact that the top 2 included a fat chick says everything. Like it's actually really interesting from a psychological like point of view because Mr. Cope Carrier, I think it is all about coping, and it's an interesting I think it's a variation of black pill where it's okay. I can't get women, but instead of like it being about me, it's not about me at all. Let's just go hyper direct. Okay, if she's into me, she's into me. It's not. It's got nothing to do with me. Done. But then there's this added cope. The girls that I get, hey, if they're not attractive, it doesn't matter because like beauty is
no, they're attractive because they like me, because they cooperate. Because they go from 4s to 9s because they cooperate. And my whole thing is no, bro. I saw a 9 the other day who wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire. She's still a 9. She's still a 9, bro.
I think it makes her a little bit hotter when there's more resistance there. To be fair, but I think. I think at the end of the day, it is like this ultimate like type of cope where instead of like when it comes to pickup, everyone on this panel I think believes this obviously, which is I am part of the problem if I'm not building attraction, and I'm going to work on myself, and there's things that I can change to improve and develop, and that's like let's be honest, that's the harder road. The easier road here is just saying none of it matters at all. I'm just going to be sticking to my hand, and I'm just going to be friends with guys and women just shit. And then the next level is like only looks matter. Maybe I'll work a little bit on my looks. This is like a variation of that where it's like looks don't matter when it comes to the girl. And all that matters with me is if she likes me or not. It's like a weird black pill thing. But yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, and looks 100% subjective because there's got to be at least one guy out there in the world who thinks that she's hot. And if there's one guy, that means it's 100% subjective. It's not objective at all.
So
no nuance.
Black pill,
sounds like a disaster.
Black pill is binary, and so is the mode 1 idea. No, part of it is subjective. Part of it is subjective. Yeah. In some, societies, they may want bigger women or smaller women, but no society wants women where their waist is thicker than their hips. No society wants women where their faces are deformed and unequal, and no society wants women where their skin is not clear. There is no example of this in every society. And by the way, there's another thing. In all 37 cultures Dr. Buss surveyed, the higher the socioeconomic gain of the man, the greater the difference in age between them and their wife. This is in Norway, Mexico, Aboriginal tribes, people in Native Americans ancestral tribes in the Andes, all these different places. We found the same thing to be the case. So the subjectivity, there is a small sliver of subjectivity within a pie of objectivity. Most heterosexual men thought that Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street was an attractive woman. Most heterosexual men thought that Selma Hayek in Dusk Till Dawn was an attractive woman. Most of us thought that. I'm not saying there aren't some that believe that, but there is. But that being attractive, the reason why I can prove this. The reason why I can absolutely prove this, I have hosted at this point about 63 bikini competitions. I never am a judge. I always go to whoever the organizer is, and I can tell them who the top 3 is, and I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong because physical attractiveness is not that. It's somewhat subjective, but it's mostly objective. The girl with the best hip to waist ratio, most symmetry, clearest skin, and signs of youth is just going to win, and that's just the way it works.
Yeah, we all like
Michael, you convinced me. Looks are objective. Fuck, I was on the fence for a while, but you talked me into it.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I wish that I had said to Lucario. Lucario, I believe that what you do works for you, but I don't believe any woman that you have sex with I would find attractive, and possibly vice versa. But I don't believe, and if you could prove to me that you've had sex with a woman that I find attractive, and of course he would never do this, then we should just part ways and agree to disagree. But the idea that my women brings women home to me, but that means because I had to generate attraction with her that I'm chasing women, that's absurdity. That's absurdity.
That's kind of almost like autistic. He's separating the two parts of forming relationships into there's women who just like you for purely sexual reasons, and then there's relationship formation. If you have to do any relationship formation, then you're weak. If every man did that, we'd all be eating like rats in a month. Society would crumble immediately if men did not do something to make women happy, to satisfy women.
That's such a great point. He's talking about street game, but literally the street that he is gaming on was built, and the infrastructure that he's gaming on was built by men trying to provide and impress women. Like,
that's not real street game, man. That's white boy street game, bro.
Literally, the street light that he's looking, that is shining the light on the street for him to game, was literally built by a man trying to either impress or provide for a woman.
I think he drove by it and said, "I put that up" to a girl in his car, and she was like, "Oh, it's so cool."
For sure.
I think we hit our weekly quota of shitting on Lucario for this stream.
Oh, wait, Lucario, if you're watching this, I love you. I'm sorry. I don't mean to shit on you.
I was worried we were not going to hit it, but we definitely hit it. So good job all around, boys. All right, Alex, curiously asking, if a hot girl keeps leaving you on red and wait a few days to re-engage with her 3-4 times, is that more of an ego to overcome, or is that a normal game for hot girls? It's most likely not on some girls will do that on purpose. Most likely she's just busy and you're just not that high of a priority, or or maybe you are somewhat of a priority, but she's just really busy and she just doesn't check her phone like all the time, especially she doesn't check her Tinder often, right? But most likely you're just not that much of a priority, which is totally logical and understandable, because any attractive girl has a million options on dating apps, and there's absolutely no reason why you should be a priority unless you're a giga chad before you even met her. You become a priority after you meet her, and especially after you sleep with her. But in these situations like that, you can playfully like call her out, and you can be like, "Are you always this talkative?" Or "A woman, a few words I see." Like text like that are really good, and then you see how she responds to that. But also, if you're on the app and she's just like, "Yeah, I don't check this app much," then just get her off the app, move her to text or WhatsApp. Go ahead, Michael.
So hot girl leaves you on red. I was seeing this as a text message or a social media, but you're saying for a dating app. This is the way I would. Yeah. So this is the way I would see it. So first off, for me, because I literally just did this. This girl did not re-engage, and then she did re-engage, and then we just went out and hooked up 2 nights ago. So the way it works is there's 3 techniques that I use. Number 1, specifically on iChat, if you don't get the response you want, I would leave a voice memo. And the reason why I would leave a voice memo, obviously, I feel like I'm better at public speaking anyway, but the voice memo disappears. If she listens to it and doesn't do anything, it disappears. So you didn't double text. Technically, she won't see a double text. And if she keeps it, we'll give you an indication that she kept it. That's why I like doing that, because again, if she doesn't keep it, then the voice memo disappears and it doesn't look like you triple text her. The other thing I will recommend is using IGDM. And then if you send a message and then she doesn't respond, or even better, if she doesn't read it, you unsend the previous message and then you send another one. That's another thing I found, but this is probably the best one that I found, is if I don't get the response I want from a girl, she goes to the back of the line and she gets invited to mass events. That's it. She gets a cookie cutter, copy and paste message that 4,000 other girls got to whatever charity event, photo shoot, gala, comp dinner, fucking birthday party that everyone else got invited to. She gets that, and her name is not mentioned anywhere in it, and she knows she is now at the back of the line. While at the same time, I'm very, very, very fastidious. If a girl doesn't give me the attention I want, I'm going to post on my story just stories of me out having fun, and then you'll see her watching 10, 11, 13 stories in a row. And also there's a close friends list trick that you can use that will help that work as well.
Have you guys ever, when a girl's being like non-responsive, have you ever sent her a video of you fucking another girl?
Yep.
I've sent a video of me with another girl, but I've never sent a video of me fucking another girl, just because that's in the state of California, that's a felony.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, no,
I used to do that when I lived in California, funny enough. But
yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be careful.
Why is it a felony?
Because it could be interpreted as revenge porn. Let's say you don't mean it for it to be revenge porn, but the girl who finds out that you sent the video, in her estimation, she can make it.
Oh,
yeah. Assuming with the girl, like, so I'll be there with a girl, and we'll send the video to the third girl, and then we'll just say like, "Wish you were here." Or better yet,
I've definitely done that before, but I keep the nipples and the vagina out of the video, just because I don't. Again, I've seen actual people I know here. Girls have gotten dudes hemmed up for posting old videos of them together. So I don't want later on, all of a sudden, her boyfriend finds out she was cheating, and the next thing you know, this video's gone out there, and now it's a revenge porn. That's why I would not. Maybe we can insinuate that we were having sex, but I'm not going to show any private
parts. Run out there. Don't send anything without.
Yeah, my conclusion, I did that experiment around like 2017, 2018. I sent it to like at least 20 or so girls that were flaking, and it did work once or twice, but overall, I don't recommend it. It blew out most conversations. Like, I think some of them I probably could have salvaged, and it just blew them out. There was like one or two girls on which it worked like pretty well, but yeah, it's not, obviously I'm just more curious. It's not like something
women showing you some compliance in a photo, I think, is a way better strategy. I did that one time to this girl who had flaked on me like 5 or 6 times, and every time she didn't write me something I wanted, it was always a picture of me with another girl with no context, and I don't understand. It just worked. She's asked me to come over after a while. It just worked. Like, whatever the thing that was causing her to flake just broke. The mechanism just broke because I was not accepting her frame. So that is fine, but I think there's a new way to do that now, which is IG story. IG story is a great way, especially if you put a girl in a close friends list. She sees that little green circle. That green circle goes to the front of the friends of all the stories. She sees it. She's going to see multiple of them. That, to me, now she's invested. I found that is probably the best way for me to get women to stop flaking if they ever did in the first place. Is consistently seeing social proof on IG story.
Yeah, being visibly desirable to other women is like the number one way to get attention from women, including if you're in that relationship and your wife isn't paying attention to you anymore. If you can go do something and all the other girls in the neighborhood pay attention to you, she's gonna renew interest in you again.
Here's another little trick. Here's an advanced trick that I will share with the chat. So we all know that dick pics are like just generally don't work unless the girl like directly asks for it, right?
Yeah.
So I discovered something like around 2021, 2022, the concept of a bulge pic. So the way this would go down.
Wait, what the fuck? What? I did not know that's where we were going right now.
This is how it would go down. Okay. So I would, for example, it has to be very contextual. So be chatting with a girl and I'll be like, hey, how's your day going? She's like, oh, good. How's yours? I'd be like, good. Just finished a big workout, looking nice and fit for our date. And sometimes the girl will be like, ooh, show me. So then you send a photo of you shirtless. But it just so happens that the way you stand in a photo and the lighting and the angles makes it seem like you have a really big dick, right? Just kind of like the outline of your pants. It just happens that way. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. And I find that is just like the biggest game changer ever. Like, girls just dig that shit fucking up.
Yeah, so true. I've had students experiment this on their Tinder profiles too, which is like a bulge pic. It's like, you don't want it too obvious, but a lot of girls will pick up on it. So
I have never thought of this. That's a really interesting one. That's
the last thing I wanted to add here just quickly as well is talking about dating apps. It's super important. Get the girl off the dating app once you have momentum. I think I have too many guys that are like their third week conversation with this fucking girl. And it's like, of course, she's not going to see you on the dating app. Like, you're just getting like spammed with other messages and shit. So yeah, if you can get off the dating app onto Instagram, it's going to be really good.
Marcus, as soon as I've matched with a girl before and she has her IG in a dating app, I've messaged her on IG and say, hey, we just matched on whatever. And then they usually write back immediately because I want to immediately get off the app. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but I'm just waiting because, like you said before, maybe she doesn't come back and check it. Can I show you guys something real quick? I'm gonna present something to you real quick. Well, there won't be any because it's in Safari. Do you guys see my screen?
Now we
do. So this is so I'm going to show you this real quick. This is a video that I posted just in my close friends list. Okay, this is my birthday a couple years ago. Those girls are both playmates, and then they came out. All the girls dressed up like cheerleaders for my birthday. So there was a ton of girls that dressed up like cheerleaders for my birthday. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This was a couple years ago. So I wanted to do this as an experiment to like show videos like this. Ooh. And then I'm only doing it in my close friends list. And then the thing is, I hear a lot of women being like, oh, you shouldn't do that because you come off like a player. But like when I do this, number of insanely attractive women that start messaging me and liking the photo is outrageous. Like the number is crazy. Like I've never seen anything even dude. That's Brie Connors. I don't know if Brie Connors is liking your videos or whatever, but that's my point. This is the pre-selection thing is even because of social media. The pre-selection thing or the mate choice copying in humans idea is actually even stronger now than it was previously. Now it's actually getting bigger to where the more you do it, the more attraction you get from women. And so that's why I highly recommend this strategy. I think it's a fantastic strategy. Don't do it too much. Maybe once a week, you put a story in your close friends list. And so the girls are like, wait, why is this story in my close friends list? Why does he not want everyone else to see this? And generally the story is going to be something that your ex-girlfriend would be upset with. But like, these are all the girls watching my story. Like, I mean, I checked, there's like 60, 70 stunning girls that were just watching that one story. And so that's a strategy I'd highly recommend for guys.
Look who it is, Mr. Red Lights himself. What's going on?
Yo, yeah, it just popped on. I completely slipped my mind. I was just
so you turned into Alex this week.
Yeah, pretty much. I got so like distracted. I was so underwriting. By the way, dude, Michael, the 7th edition of the evolutionary psychology textbook came out.
Yeah, no, it came out last year.
Yeah. I had no idea, but yeah, I'm gonna go through it. The changes.
There's no audiobook. You have to actually buy the book, and it's about it's fucking humongous. It's like 700 pages.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Austin,
awesome. Anybody else?
Debate?
What do you say? I didn't.
Are you super nervous for your big debate on Wednesday?
No, dude. It's. I'm not nervous at all. Like I understand.
No, can I join in?
Aspects of it.
Can I join in, bro?
I think he'll get pissed off and he'll leave.
Fuck! I can't believe an actual black pillar, bro. Like everything I do just crushes black pill. Like my entire existence is literal black pill kryptonite. Oh my god, bro. Oh, well, I would just sit there and
clients. You mean right? Like you're a pretty good looking.
Yeah,
dude.
Of course. Well, okay, my clients. I'll show him 15 Indian clients under 5'7", and then all the success they're having. And then
I give you my word. After this debate, I will do my absolute 100% best to make it happen. But obviously,
okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
that would be funny. I would
would
watch some of that.
That showing proof is part of it, but the thing is, it's not. You couldn't show them as enough proof for them to change their minds because it's basically like the flat earth.
It's a religion.
Manosphere.
Yeah.
It is like the flat earth. By the way, shout out to Jaron, the guy who went to the South Pole and saw that the earth goes around the horizon is actually a friend of mine. I didn't realize that was the same Jaron. He and I message each other every once in a while. Yeah.
Damn, I guess he lost his sex drive at the fucking at the pole because I don't know, maybe like the penguins weren't just doing the trick. But okay, so how to restore sex drive has been gone for the last couple of years normal. It is absolutely not normal. And it could be, it's probably physical. It could be many, many different things. It could be testosterone, but it could be so many other things besides your testosterone. You need to go to a good high functional medicine doctor. You need to do a shitload of testing. You need to do a test for heavy metals. You need to do a test for mold. You need to do a full vitamin mineral panel, test for all those minerals. You need to do a full hormone panel and not just testosterone. You need to test for things like your thyroid and stuff like that, IGF-1. I'm not a doctor, but that's just the you do very detailed. Yeah.
He's saying a functional medical doctor because when you go to your urologist or you go to an endocrinologist, they're not going to test for your estrogen levels. Men having super high estrogen levels is normal. It's what the medical community wants. So, but of course, it's terrible. It's one of the worst things that you can have. So I'm going to tell you again, like, make sure they don't just test your testosterone levels; they test your estrol levels as well. And then my question to this guy is, how old are you? And then what is your body fat percentage? Because that way we know how much of your testosterone is being aromatized into estrogen, and that's where we're going to see a lot of these problems. I would start with the testosterone thing, but like he said before, it could be heavy metals, it could be other toxins that you're consuming, high levels of stress, or hypogonadism genetically. Or I know I have one client, he took a fucking softball to the nutsack. Like weird shit can happen.
Yeah, it could be so many different things.
Yeah, the main thing though is testosterone, because testosterone and your libido have like an 80% correlation. And like Mike said, the biggest thing is just being too fat decreases testosterone. People have all these wild theories. They're like, dude, they're poisoning us. That's why the testosterone's going down.
Plastic.
It's mostly just like people have added so much body fat. And like you said, it just, aromatase turns testosterone into estrogen.
But I would say for me, getting on TRT didn't really affect my sex drive, if I'm being honest. And I had low testosterone. For me, like the biggest thing was
more.
You're kind of an edge case though, because of your
well, for me it was a Lyme disease, right? And then like when I have my Lyme, periods where my Lyme is under control, my sex drive goes back to normal, and I could have super high T. But like if I'm like or I have mold, when I was exposed to mold, I just totally killed my sex drive. So yeah, there's a lot of factors to it. But yeah, testosterone usually will help. Yeah. Okay, let's see, what else do we have?
What kind of stuff did you guys go into on this? My bad for joining so late.
We a lot of statistics on promiscuity.
Stats on how people are reliable and all that sort of thing. How to tell who's going to cheat and who isn't.
Oh, nice. So you guys went into the big 5 personality traits?
No, we didn't get into the big 5. Are there correlations between the big five and infidelity?
Yeah. So high openness
There's-
to experience,
it's
low
small, but
conscientiousness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
Yeah, I'm
then
actually reading
what was
Gad
the other
Sad's book right now about happiness, and he actually talks about the same thing. It's like the high necessity for variety actually does lead to more likelihood of infidelity. It's a really, really interesting book. It's like basically the book is, or at least the first chapter is, people who are satisfied with what life gives them are just happier people, but they also have lower expectations. That's basic. I mean, there's a bunch of other parts of the book, but that is kind of the basic gist of his book.
The Parasitic Mind book?
No, the most recent one. He just Gad Sad just came out with a book on happiness. I recommend every Gad Sad book.
Gotsa did a recent debate on Piers Morgan with who someone fill in my statement. It was an interesting debate, or I forget. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You guys.
Hey guys, I gotta run. I hope that's okay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Do you want to tell people?
Hey, Hometh, give me a call. Give me a call later, man. Don't be a stranger, brother.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, everyone, you can find me at my Linktree. It's linktree.ee/hometh.
Cool. All right, buddy. We'll
Thanks,
talk to you
man.
later.
Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure.
All right, man. Talk to you soon, brother.
I like how he's like, is it okay?
Dude, he's a fascinating guy. Me and him.
I could have been like, no, dude, it's not okay. That's not cool at all. Just like you have to fucking stay here.
See you guys later.
So there's an echo from Marcus's. It's the microphone coming out going into the AirPods. There's an echo we can hear.
I was on mute, bro, so it wasn't me.
I personally don't hear
so it's not. So it just went away.
It's Alex, probably.
It's me, really?
You're not wearing headphones.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some mistiming. Yeah, I put headphones on.
Let me. I don't have.
It's been happening for a while, though. I think for most of it.
It must be Alex. Yeah.
Chat, can you let me know if you guys hear it on your end? Do you guys hear echo? Sometimes it's like only available to the people who are on the thing. Let me know, and I'll switch back to my, I guess, shitty computer mic.
Last time I got my body fat tested, I think it was like 15 or 16%. But I just finished an ultimate frisbee tournament. It was like 4 games a day for 2 days, and it's probably a lot lower now. I've been running around a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what mine is, but I know girls like it. Oh, you won the ultimate frisbee thing. Jesus, man.
Yeah, not a.
Damn, you must get all the.
There's one thing that none of you on this panel can compete with me on.
That is a true sign of male dominance, I think. I truly believe. Guys, I'm in the top 100 in the world on Madden. You can look it up.
Real sports more fun, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I know more about Game of Thrones than any human being on the planet besides potentially.
I bet you don't. I went to the fucking Con of Thrones tournament, and I almost won the trivia thing.
Okay, Michael. Who is Tywin's? What's the name of Tywin's sister?
Tywin Lannister's sister is Joanna. No, that's his wife. Tywin Lannister's sister is
exactly.
Is it not Joanna?
No.
Okay, who's this?
Yo,
okay,
what do y'all know about Carl
and
Jung's The Shadow Self?
Huh?
Like the
it's
what
Jenna,
do you guys know
Jenna.
about Carl Jung's The Shadow?
And who's Aunt Jenna married to?
That one I don't know, but I am curious.
Sir Aemon Frey. It's a Frey.
Damn, bro, this guy knows.
Dude, you don't understand.
Who is Tyrion's father?
Well, I mean, the conspiracy theory is that it was Mad King Aerys, but I think most likely it's still Tywin.
No, it's most likely Mad King Aerys, because in the book, one of his eyes is violet, and he goes up to the 3 dragons. They don't do a fucking thing to him at all whenever he goes and unshackles them. It is
the evidence for that
Targaryen.
is like really weak. I think it's circumstantial. It's that like, Mad King Aerys did like Joanna, but Tywin does not seem like the kind of person that would just like.
Tywin literally in the book, Tywin literally says in the book, "You are no son of mine." He literally says those words in the book.
Because he shoots him. Because he shoots him. And also in the first book, he says, "You are my son."
Before that, he says, "Until the laws of God and man have changed, you are my son." That's what he said. You are not
to call me daddy.
No. In the first book, when Jaime gets captured, and Tyrion's like, "Why me? Why not my uncle? Why not a bigger man? Because you are my son."
Sure, he has to say it in that case, but there's another part where he does say, "You are no son of mine." He
I
does
actually have
say
a really
that.
good infield clip of this.
I mean, yeah, like I guess we can. This is like a conspiracy theory. Like I guess like it's or not conspiracy theory. It's like a fan theory. But I knew the person who they think it is.
So the part of your brain that's associated with feet is really, really close to the part of your brain that's associated with sexuality. So it hypothesized there's like some kind of like overlap there and cross wiring.
I mean, but there's also
no,
like if you look at the data on
Dude,
kids,
I thought
like,
you were about to say,
there's
but
also,
if you just look at feet, they're so hot.
they're so good. Damn. Can we just bring up a foot pic, please, Alex? Yeah, like there's also women or men that are obsessed with like hands or knees or fucking elbows or some shit. Like, yeah, I don't know. People have kinks.
Here's actually a legit question. If you hook up with one girl in a friend group, then try to hook up with another girl in the group, it will never happen. The well is poison. Why doesn't pre-selection work there?
That's because you made it a big deal. It's literally what you described is literally the most effective way for me to hook up women. You literally describe the thing that you are saying doesn't work is literally the thing that works best for me. You made it a big deal. I am the guy who doesn't fucking count in the friend group. I imagine Marcus is similar, and you end up hooking up with multiple girls in the same group, especially if you're good in bed and they brag about you. No, dude, you made this a deal. You treated her differently after you had sex with her. I'll have sex with a girl, and then she'll be on Access Vegas, and you won't even see me treat her. I'll be like, hey, Sarah, what do you think about this with your ex-boyfriend? Not knowing we just slept together. You have no idea because we don't treat them differently. That's why you're having a problem with this.
Yeah, I find pre-selection in these groups work completely fine with a casual frame. I've had situations where girls refer me to their friends, or it turns into threesomes or something like that. The only difference here is like if girls think it's something serious, then their friends are usually going to respect that, and the girl is going to try to block that and respect that as well. But even in these cases, bro, I've had like friends go behind their friends' back, message me and be like, "Hey, we should hang out" or some bullshit like. So, I mean, it's up to you. If you want to create a series frame with this girl, then obviously, like, her friends are not going to be interested. They get her most of the time.
Let me explain to you. This is a very important distinction. So, the one girl that I really liked a lot after I broke up with, this is like 3 girlfriends ago. We broke up. This is a girl I'd liked for a lot. We ended up sleeping together like the day my girlfriend moves out. Like, this is 3 girlfriends ago, not the most recent one. And we ended up hooking up. And then we ended up hooking up again. And then I don't tell anyone. And then her roommate comes to me like months later and goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe you didn't hook up with so-and-so. She told me." And the girl, the roommate was impressed because the girl bragged about me in bed. I didn't brag. You want women bragging about having sex with you, not you bragging about have sex. There is 180-degree difference between the two. And subsequently, I ended up sleeping with the roommate. That's what happened. So this idea that you're having, it's completely wrong. What you do is after it happens, "Oh, it did." Dude, I've literally gotten out of the shower after hooking up with a girl, giving her a high five, and be like, "Nothing happened tonight." She's like, "Nothing happened." Zip, and then we do a little pinky swear, and then it's it. I don't count. And if you do that, then it's the whole, if I don't count and I'm not saying shit, then she knows 2 things. Number 1, if she wants to have sex and not be judged for it, she knows that she can come to me. And number 2, when she's the one bragging to her friends, I get nothing but pre-selection because I didn't brag. Most men cannot wait to run their fucking mouth about who they sleep with. But in this case, because she's the one who bragged, the attraction this other woman feels for you, like what Marcus just said, one girl going behind her friend's back, how'd she find out about it? Because the other girl probably bragged about sleeping with Marcus. That's the component you're missing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and from sales, the easiest sale is a referral. So
yeah. I saw Michael break down the Joy Toiler video where she's talking about rejecting men. What % of women do you think enjoy rejecting men for sport?
I don't know.
Right.
That's a good one.
Probably, I wouldn't say it's too high. I think in certain situations, I guess a lot of women could, but I think in general, like I don't think most women will take pleasure from that.
Yeah, and I also think every girl is secretly open to meeting the right guy. You just have to kind of have the right angle. There are some times, like if something horrible happens, like just think about you personally, Mike Monson. Like there's times that you go outside, you don't want to talk to anyone. You're kind of pissy. Like there's different people go through swings of their emotions. And one thing that I like what Michael said is like sometimes girls just want sex, and there's times in their cycle where they don't want to fucking talk to anyone, and there's some times in their cycle where they want to like just it's their night and they're like, I am fucking tonight, like no matter what. So kind of depends on. Do you understand? But also, I focus on what you can control, which is your actions.
I hate to beat this dead horse, but you just did it again. Austen, you talked about another variable that women might be going through. So if all you do is mode one direct game, you're not going to know. All of a sudden, this woman wasn't interested in you, and then it must be because you're not attractive enough. No, it was the wrong time. It was
Michael, we already hit our quota, though. We hit the quota.
Oh, yeah, we did hit our quota.
Yeah,
I apologize.
I want to add to this as well that it might look like a lot of women enjoy rejecting guys, but I think what they actually enjoy is just the validation of guys being into them. So if you're out cold approaching, and I say this in students, the student will go up and what are you pointing at? Oh, too funny. Yeah, if you might see like girls be like, no, not interested, girls and look really happy. A lot of times it's just like external validation because they got hit on. I don't think it's so much this, oh, I really like going out and just like fucking putting a guy down. There's some fucking weird women that are into that shit. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's usually just a validation.
I think it comes from a negative experience. We don't need to go into it, but the just go to the subreddit r/gettingbigger, and there's so much good shit on here. Like you can improve your erection quality simply by following some of these protocols, and you can also just permanently increase your tissue size using some of these protocols. But it all carries a degree of risk. The safest stuff though is use a pump, an air pump, and then use an extender, and then just start really, really, really slow, and then work your way up. This is the subreddit. So like
they have a Reddit for everything.
Incredible.
Your erection quality will go away over time. And one of the things that an air pump will do, it literally brings fresh blood into those like capillaries.
Yeah.
Through like vasodilation using it, you can kind of get like these super physiological boners that you wouldn't really get. And it can restore a lot of erection quality. And like your dick could literally, the newbie gains of doing like dick enlargement stuff is insane. Like you can get like a 1/4 inch of girth in like 3 months, and you can get like similar in length simply because parts of that stuff is atrophied. But a lot of people are doing a lot of things that are bad for their dicks anyway. Like any kind of nicotine, vaping, cigars, cigarettes is their nicotine in and of itself is a vasoconstrictor, and it decreases your penis size. And
but just temporarily, not permanently, right?
No, permanently. And there's a variety of reasons why. It causes penile fibrosis. It causes vasoconstriction. It like decreases the growth of new blood vessels. There's like an insane amount of reasons why it's bad for your dick. But
yeah, unfortunately, I don't have to worry about any of that because I have like humongous, biggest schlong.
Oh yeah, same here, bro. You know.
yeah, it's all good.
It's so tough for me.
Yeah.
How do I make it smaller, Austen?
It's really too big.
That's another thing people don't understand. Like, if your dick gets too big, blowjobs kind of go out the window, and anal kind of goes out the window. So there's a really good sweet spot of dick size, and most people can get there in a decent amount of work.
I've actually wondered that. Like, I always thought that the whole like dick bigger thing was just like a snake oil shit. You're saying it's actually real, like that there
it is. I literally have photos I can pull up right now, dude.
Okay.
The other thing is a real great way to get super physiological erections is to fuck hotter women. A great way. Oh, I'm 47. A great way to like maintain a long erection is to have sex with 2 women at the same time. I've also found that to work as well.
Dude, funny enough, David Bond, he built his harem up to like 9 girls who were like banging him at the same time. And his like crisis moment to focus on his health was he had 9 girls like around him, like, you know, trying to suck his dick, get him hard, etc. And he couldn't get hard. And he went to the bathroom. He's like, come on. And it was like such a traumatic moment for him. He like went so balls deep into health, and he realized his testosterone was just like through the floor. And he used that as like a kind of a crisis moment to focus on his health.
Here's an interesting question. Tips to become more animated with your body language, vocal expressions. I don't know.
Yeah, so basically the main thing that you guys want to do is
but what's like the real answer? I've never thought about
it. Actually is. So in improv, they have this saying, it's that subtlety is earned. And the way you actually earn subtlety is by expressing yourself to your fullest capacity, because most people are not only emotionally constipated, like they haven't expressed their emotions. They have so many repressed emotions that they're keeping in that it kind of it prevents them from expressing themselves. And number two, even if they get rid of that, they're so used to just being very kind of like, very monotone and unexpressive that they actually need to practice that part too. So you do need to work on your emotional expressiveness. And honestly, one of the best ways to do it is improv, but you can also practice things out when you do game. Like you're just talking to girls. Like that is free improv that you can do every day as much as you want. Like you can go out, try new things, try new lines, try routines, try funny stuff, try saying things in like more animated ways, try saying things in more expressive ways, more engaging ways. And yeah.
Your inability. Go ahead.
I was going to say the biggest thing that can help out is just be louder. Like oftentimes when guys are just more loud, they tend to be more expressive, more animated. But I agree with Austen. Just go out there and practice.
Right. So let's talk about the foundation of what this problem is. This is one of the biggest issues I have, especially with some of my clients that are like Indian. They just feel this necessity to always be quiet. Okay. The reason you are not willing to talk as loud as I am right now is because you do not fucking give yourself permission to do so, and you give a fuck about what other people think about you. I don't care what other people think about me. So I can turn it up as high as I want or go as low as I want. It doesn't mean I have to be expressive all the time, but I don't give a shit about being expressive, and I don't worry about other people and what they think while I'm doing it. The reason why you're quiet is a combination of probably trauma from your childhood, of your parents telling you, be quiet, Billy, no more talking, sit in the corner, don't talk don't talk in school, be quiet. And the other thing that you'll see this, go to the gym. When the big dudes show at the gym, watch the smaller dudes get quieter.
That is true.
Quieter. They will get quieter. I will fucking never get quieter just because a dude is bigger or whatever, because I have given myself permission. That's the difference. You give a fuck. Some people worship at church. You worship at the altar of worthless people and their worthless opinions. That is the reason why you are not giving yourself permission to be louder.
And it's all subconscious.
Yeah, you hinted at it. It's a lot of people are chronically low status. Like most men just feel chronically low status in so many environments. And when you're chronically low status, you don't really have the same support network of someone that's high status. So yeah, subconsciously you have to start identifying as like the big boss. You have to start identifying as the guy who's the shit. And funny enough, I just came off of that win for the playing Ultimate. You just are screaming constantly when you're playing sports. You're like, fucking cut, dude, bro. Like you're just like yelling and screaming, and like, dude, at the end of that weekend, I was just like, I'm just ordering at a restaurant, like, hey, bro, yeah, how's the steaks in here, man? Let's get it. Yeah, béarnaise sauce. You just end up speaking so much louder because everyone around you is just screaming, and it's that power of an environment too. Like, get around people who are expressive, and that's going to rub off on you as well. One of the reasons why like immersions work with, me, Michael, Markus, unfortunately, Alex doesn't know how to teach immersion, but the way that it works is you get her in an environment where people
I have started doing immersions, but thank you very much.
Mindsets. What do you say?
No, I'm just fucking around. Alex, you mentioned dating for a period 6 months before being in a relationship. Do you expect these girls want to date you in time? It's a long investment. So what I said was that I tip every single one of the relationships I've been in started off as friends with benefits. So if I just met a girl and she's just like my fuck buddy, I don't expect her to be loyal or monogamous to me, right? Like that would just be kind of unreasonable. Like we just had sex a week ago, right? I would expect any girl to have a relationship with to be loyal and monogamous to me. So I start off as friends with benefits or fuck buddies, basically same shit. And then I just let things naturally evolve if they do, or sometimes they don't, right? So that's what I was getting at. But no, like if you're just like you just met a girl and you guys are just fuck buddies, like expecting her to only have sex with you, while it can happen actually, and it does happen more than you think, is just expecting that, especially from the beginning, is kind of unreasonable. Okay, what else do we have? Playing with pod. Do you have advice for a normal guy? Some of this advice seems too advanced or involved. I mean, I think everything here would apply to a normal guy. Like, I don't like nothing.
I just sent him a message asking, like, where's he at? What's he need help with? And he said he's just getting back into dating. So I've asked him, like, how is he meeting women right now? But I think, like, if you're in this position where you're like, okay, some of this feels too advanced, I'm not even meeting anyone, then yeah, just figure out where you're at and ask this question.
Well, just start like everyone on this. We have like easy videos. Like I have like how to create a Tinder profile, how to write a Tinder bio. Austen has how to cold approach for beginners. I'm sure Markus has the same thing. I'm sure Michael has like how to set up your first party or whatever. So just start with like the beginner. I literally have a playlist called like for beginners. Like just start with that.
No matter what skill set you're trying to learn, there's always like the power laws of it, the things that give you the biggest bang for your buck.
Any tips on accepting guys that will player hate on your successful women and women chatting them men? Any tips on?
Yes, let them do it. I wish I could pay someone to come fucking hate on me. That is so great for getting you, bro. I've nothing in the world turned my girl on more when dudes would come up and just start running their fucking mouth at the gym. You are lucky, bro. You're doing something right. Keep it up. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Do not even react to it.
I read the question differently. Like, any tips on accepting guys? Like, I thought he was talking about like his friends hating on his success.
I mean, unfortunately, they're cucking themselves by doing that.
If you have a friend who's hating on your success, then stop being friends with that person. I mean, you can talk to them
too, of course.
Yeah, but like, don't hang out with people who, like, I have a rule about this. Like, if I go out, like, if I wing with someone, not that I really do this much anymore nowadays. If I go out to cold approach, will be with my friends, but. Back when I used to go out, like if I sensed that the guy would like try to like in any way kind of like fuck me over or try to like steal the girl or just do any underhand shit, I would never ever go out with that guy again. That was just like a blatant rule. Like just don't go out with people like that.
Yeah, people will do almost anything to prevent themselves from the responsibility of taking action. So they'll tell themselves all sorts of stories. They'll try to point at you for doing something that's wrong in their eyes, when in reality, their subconscious mind is literally just manifesting their repressed desires, which is, I want to be able to attract and talk to the women that you're talking to, and because you're doing it, I don't want to actually have to take the responsibility. I'm just going to shame you for doing it and hate on you. That's essentially what's going on in their minds.
People are asking about the little puppy. That little puppy is Rhaegar's arch nemesis. This little puppy harasses and fucking sexually molests Rhaegar. Poor Rhaegar is just like trying to sleep, and this puppy will come up and start like pawing him. But no, it's my girlfriend's dog.
Dude, I actually have a video. This is a very specific question that I have a video for. So I've broken my nose twice. Once a car stopped in front of me when I was on a bike and I slammed into the back of it. And then the second time was ultimate frisbee. And yeah, so you basically what you need is called a septoplasty. But depending on what the your doctor recommends, like you might actually need like a nasal bone fracture reduction. I don't know whatever you did to your nose, but yeah, you should get a septoplasty. And the person that I went with, you can check out the video, Austen Summers' nose. The guy that I went with is like double board certified. So he's a plastic surgeon and a medical surgeon. So he fixed the medical side of it for me, and he fixed the aesthetic side of it for me. I'm like, if I'm going to straighten my nose, might as well make it look like, as good as it possibly can. So
I had a really bad experience with that. When I was 16, I broke my nose, and I went to a plastic surgeon, or I don't know, some doctor in Jersey, and I had like a year or 2 years worth of breathing problems. It fucking sucked.
Fortunately, my guy was so good. Like the first time I did it, when I broke my nose as a kid on the bike, I had the most painful recovery ever, and it took me a long time to start breathing again. And this time was actually quite good, and like I breathe fine. Like, and I only used to breathe like 60% for years because of I didn't get it fixed after my ultimate frisbee injury. So this time I got it fixed, and I couldn't really be happier, to be honest.
How do you guys deal with women who want something serious, but you just want to some casual fun? They usually end up saying, I'm a piece of shit of a man, even though they make it clear it's just casual fun. I think if they're saying you're a POS down the line, then something is made not to clear. Like maybe you did your best to make it clear, but maybe it wasn't made clear to her. Because that usually comes from like deception, or the girl feeling like she wasted her time because she was led on. Like I think if you are truly upfront and you're good at communicating it, like you shouldn't be getting these reactions. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? It's an interesting question.
Yeah, bro, I agree. I think what happens is a lot of guys, like a couple of weeks in, the girl will be like, "What are you looking for?" And they might say like, "Yeah, I don't think anything serious. Like maybe just something casual." The girl's like, "Okay," and then they proceed to go on with this dynamic or relationship where the guy starts investing more and more and more, and you end up with this dynamic where you're chatting to the girl every single day, you're seeing her multiple times a week, you're going out on like dinner dates, and for the guy, he's like, "But I made it clear. I told her, even if you continually tell her to have these actions, like I told her I just want something serious." So I think you need to, it's all about her perception, and that's going to be created through your behaviors. So all your behaviors, doesn't matter what the fuck you say, right? We think of the same rhythm, doesn't matter what they say, it's what they do. All your behaviors need to line up with being something casual. If that's the case, some women might be upset, but they don't often blame you. They'll usually just come and say like, "Look, this isn't working for me. Like, I want something more. It's upsetting me." Usually say, "No worries, I've had a lot of fun with you," and then they'll return 2 weeks later to hang out again. But yeah, it's just about your behaviors. Like, go back, do a reflection on this interaction with this girl, and ask yourself: was I speaking to her quite a lot in text? Was I seeing her more than once a week? Were the dynamics like, were we future projecting things? Like, did it feel a little bit too much like a relationship as opposed to a friends with benefits?
Why do I keep being muted? Austin, stop that fucking shit.
Well, I muted you originally because you were echoing Marcus's.
Oh, was I? Okay, all right, my bad. I'll move this away from the thing. It'll be better this way. Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts. What you said, Marcus. What do you think about this, Michael? Because you notoriously are a player in Vegas. You're fucking all these girls. Do you have any girls telling you later on that you're a POS?
No, not usually. I mean, because I don't lie to anyone ever. And when I had a girlfriend, I was faithful to my girlfriend. So like, that really isn't the issue. It's not real, because just as long as you tell the truth, it's not an issue. Now, what he's talking about before is you tell a girl you don't want a committed relationship. And Marcus is correct most of the time. Sometimes there is no logic, reason, or accountability. Maybe you're the first guy that she's ever had like a really positive sexual experience with, and she can't see anything else other than the two of you being in a relationship. It just feels normal. She wonders why you aren't texting her back all the time. That kind of thing happens because the sex is so good. Maybe she got out of a bad marriage, whatever it is. In those situations, even when you are clear with her, she still may be upset. So, I mean, nobody likes to get rejected. Everybody wants what they want. And if you're having sex with a girl and she doesn't get the relationship she wants, or if you're going on dates with a girl and you don't get the sex you want, people can be resentful.
I think Marcus like really hit on the big point, which is that while you told her that you want nothing serious, your actions, maybe she read into things too much, but your actions showed her something different because you were doing like date stuff, or you were treating her in some ways like a guy would treat his girlfriend. That's, I think, I mean, there's exceptions. There are just some girls who are just like delusional, right? But like in general, I think that would be kind of how it would go if that's a pattern that's repeatedly happening. I don't even know what to do with that. Remember when Austen used to make videos? Well, doesn't Austen make videos anymore?
I accept the shaming. It's a complicated reason I don't want to really get into, but I just hired a new guy who's going to be helping me out, and then I have another guy coming as well. So I'll be pumping the videos out soon enough.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you say?
You've been busy growing your penis, bro. It takes time, right?
He needed to hit his penis goals before he could do his video goals.
Exactly.
You know,
one focus at a time.
Austin felt that the reason he wasn't getting the views that he wanted was just because his bulge wasn't big enough. You know, it was like just sitting there and it was just like, does this guy have a big bulge?
Bro, it's only like 20 minutes a day. It's not that bad. You pop the Cialis, you know, you go on a morning walk, get the vitamin D in, get the water coursing through your system, then you pump, and it's not that bad.
We're coming
Dude,
up
it's kind
on
of
2
funny.
hours.
I have to like be careful of how I'm growing my dick because I only want to grow a little bit of girth and I don't want to grow length. And
Sounds like you're growing a plant, bro.
And unfortunately, dude, my length
Sounds
is
like
already
you're talking about like a fucking tree or something.
Yeah, is there a way to like reduce penis
if anyone
size?
wants to
Because
trade
like
an inch of girth for an inch of length, like hit me up. We'll do a DM collab.
I like big, flat, black cat. That's what I'm
Wow.
into. Here we go.
But yeah, we're about to hit the 2 hour mark. I don't know if you guys want to keep going or should we wrap up here? I feel like we covered a lot.
I like the one. How do you pick up Indians?
So how
you
you
guys ready?
pick up chicks as an Indian is completely different than the way any other ethnicity on earth does it. So you
Including
have to like
podcasts.
abrogate the laws of physics. And no, I'm just kidding. It's the same shit.
The way you pick them up is, with formaldehyde. All right, here we go, guys. This is the answer. So the way you pick them up, the way that overcomes it that I've seen work the best for my Indian clients is pre-selection, fucking tons and tons and tons and tons of Indian guys with tons and tons and tons of pre-selection. Your Instagram. And here's the other thing. Do not be the Indian guy. So there's this trope about the Indian guy with the skinny arms, pre-selection, more pre-selection. That's how you do it. The Indian guy with the skinny arms and the gut, because he's he's a vegetarian. You don't want to play into that, right? If there's one thing I'm an expert at, I'm an expert helping Indian guys get with white women. Like that is absolutely like my forte above everything else would be that. So and actually you can see here, he just actually walked in the room next door. Like I have probably over 100 Indian clients, and it's very common. Like we figure out ways to pre-selection trumps everything. Logistics trumps game. That's essentially what we teach. And that is the best way if you are an Indian man to get white women, period. I will debate anyone on this. I will show you 100 more testimonials if you want. Absolutely, unequivocally, that is the answer.
I'll keep that in mind if I would become Indian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think something Michael touched on there is that you don't want to be portrayed as that Indian archetype. And it's a hard thing to do because, like it's tough to tell someone like, hey, this is, who you are. We don't want to show that to women as much. But the same thing, like if you're a short guy, you don't want to post that on Tinder. If you got like a bit of a fucking belly, then we're going to tell you to like lose some weight. Unfortunately, like unless you're in Poland, like for some reason, Polish girls think Indians are like super exotic and they love them. If you're in America, then you're going to have a negative stereotype. You want to try like soften your accent a little bit. You want to try step away from, Bob's vagine, anything like fucking that's going to get you into that archetype. So a lot of the typical game advice is going to work for you. So Michael said like pre-selection, if you learn to be a little bit more confident and extroverted, and we spoke about before about conveying better subcomms, and then you build up your DHVs, things like that. All of these are going to make an impact. All these can overcome your Indianness. Okay, so don't worry about it.
Okay. So I'm going to say something that's very technical that's going to get me canceled, but I'm just going to say it anyway, but this is actually true. So when I talk to someone, if I'm seeking or if I'm breaking rapport, I say, how are you doing? I'm going to bring it down. How are you doing? The Indian accent in general, I'm talking about we're first generation Indians. Where are you from? Where did you guys come today? That movement of the pitch going up and down is a rapport-seeking thing that is low attractiveness. This is why I consistently tell my clients that are Indian, adopt a British accent, adopt a British accent, because most of them who learned English from British teachers, and several of them do have British accents. My favorite, I don't know if you know who Shiddich is. He's a huge dating coach in India, and we recently made a video together. He adopts a British accent, not an Indian accent, when he speaks English, and this has been very helpful for him. And he also works on upper body muscle. This is something that a lot of people who grew up vegetarian, they end up with the small string arms and the big old vegetarian gut. You don't want to play into those stereotypes if you want white women.
I actually talked to an Indian bodybuilder, and he mentioned this. He said the Indian diet, even if you're like middle class, upper middle class, rich, is notoriously poor on protein. They have a lot of carbs. Yeah. They do not get a lot of meat. They get like very small doses of meat, and that's the big.
And the fat that they get is like really high PUFA, like high in omega-6s.
I don't know anything about that.
And if your diet's like mostly beans and lentils and this type of thing, it creates such a bad gut microbiome that it literally. Okay, I don't want to get canceled.
Anyway,
no, what you're saying is accurate.
Yeah, sure. It makes you smell bad. Here, I'll say it. Okay,
dude, guys, just pay us to coach you, and we'll tell you the truth behind closed doors.
No, I mean, I'll tell people the truth fucking anywhere. I mean, like, what do I have to lose at this point? I've been demonetized.
So the second problem is often my Indian. I mean, I've had over 100 of them now. My Indian clients, and I'm talking about first generation Indians. I'm not talking guys who've been here for years and years, or they're second or third generation. My Indian clients from India, they also have a very serious problem talking loud. Serious problem, because the society they come from also I don't have many clients that are first generation Chinese. I have 2 of them that are currently in the People's Republic of China. They use a VPN to take my course, but for them, they have a similar issue. Being loud in a highly being loud in a highly homogenous society is very difficult. When I have clients that are African American or Latino, they do not seem to have this problem. Culturally, being loud is not shunned to the same level it is when you are from the Indian subcontinent, or if you're Chinese. So that's something that I've noticed.
More it's more than just being loud. It's just being different, like being anything besides the very standard norm. Like the norm in India is that you're quiet, you're obedient, you listen to your parents, you don't cause a lot of attention, you don't shame your family. That's the worst thing you can do, right? So don't do anything unique, and then you have an arranged marriage to a woman from a good family. Like, I'm not exaggerating any part of what I just said, and that's
again, this is direct. All the things I'm telling you directly from a super popular Indian dating coach. He also said this: the reason why the Bobs and Vagine thing happens is because these men are brought up believing that their marriage would be arranged, so they get a card for one free sex, and so because of that, they do not work on intersexual dynamics at all, and so they take for granted women and learning about women and learning to attract women, which is why you get so many miscalibrated men from India leaving some of these comments.
Yeah, also, and even if you go beyond that,
India is 93%
men. You don't have the same level of like. There's not even like a cultural understanding of like game and seduction and like really the type of social skills that are required to, be good at this kind of thing is not even like a thing there. It's arranged marriages. I don't think is a good thing for society in the long run.
No, I don't either. All right, guys, we're going on like over 2 hours. I don't know. You guys want to wrap up here?
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot of stuff. We hit our quota of shitting on Lucario. We talked to Homath. We had the
shout out to Lucario. Shout out to Homath,
dude. Whatever you guys can say about Lucario, his level of certainty in what he believes is outrageous. Like if we could give that level of certainty to our clients, like they would just
agreed.
Yeah, I know.
If I could take Lucario's certainty and his street game and give it to my Indian clients, again, I would have a month. I totally agree, dude.
Yeah,
totally.
All right, cool, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next Monday. Fun stream. Thank you guys for all coming. Appreciate you guys.
Cheers, guys.
Take it easy.
All right, guys. See you soon.